How is this? Can you guys let me know how the audio is? Wait, I'll just keep it on this screen for now. Yeah, just let me know if the audio is too loud, too quiet, or if it's even working at all. Oh, thanks, Ilya Moon, for the hatchling. Oh yeah, I forgot I have that. Honestly, forgot that I have the membership thing now that I've started doing streaming. But yeah, thanks for that. It's the same as like subbing on Twitch, right? I honestly don't I forgot it existed. I don't really watch streams on YouTube. The reason why I stream on YouTube now instead of on Twitch is just because our audience is pretty much entirely on YouTube. But yeah, I know there's not many of you here right now, but feel free to just start asking questions in general. I'll change the screen just to be something else. We're probably going to be showing off some stuff today like on the actual computer, so I won't be using my webcam for this because it will just get in the way. But yeah, if anyone's got questions, just drop them in the chat. I see Quartzy. Hey Quartzy, how you doing? Mick is late. He messaged me at 12 o'clock, so for me it's 1 o'clock now. We're meant to be starting at 1, and he messaged me at 12 saying he'll be ready in time. And then, you know, here we are. Where are we from? Well, I think, as for me, everyone knows I'm from the UK. But I mean, I look at my YouTube analytics sometimes to see where people are from, and I think about 40% are from America, and about 30 or 20% are from the UK, then everywhere else afterwards. Yeah, what time is it for you guys actually? So it's 3 p.m. So that means you're 2 hours ahead of me, so you'll be like Eastern Europe somewhere, I guess. Oh, it's Jason. That's the nature of streams. I don't think I've ever been on stream, but I started without some difficulties. Well, yeah, my last stream last week was with Roman Papush. I don't know if you guys know who he is. And when I went to start the stream, I couldn't start OBS. It just wouldn't work. And eventually I found out it's because my graphics drivers needed updating. And I was a bit confused because we'd done a test the day before, and I was wondering why is there a problem now? And then I checked on like GeForce Experience or whatever, and it told me the new driver came out the day before, so it must have come out like that night or something. So then I had to install the graphics drivers, and yeah, I was a bit late to that stream for unforeseen problems. Yeah, the person I'm streaming with, this isn't going to be a game dev Q&A, though of course if you want you can ask game dev questions, I guess. This is more just about our platform and stuff we're working on, because I tried to find a guest for this week, but the 3 different people I asked couldn't make it. So people have been busy or just, yeah, I'm going to try and find someone for next week, but we're improvising this time. 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Damn, some of you are actually committed to tune in the morning this early. I mean, I don't know what are people doing at the moment, you know, not being at work. I know plenty of people that do software stuff like me will be able to work from home, but I'm assuming not everyone here works in software development or game dev or anything like that. Just kind of waiting on Mick before we get into the meat of this, so I'm just going to keep improvising until he gets here. No sign. Let me check if he's messaged me on my phone. Maybe he's messaged me on WhatsApp or something. Nope. Okay, we'll just be patient. It's only 7 minutes in. It's fine. I was later to Romans last time because of the problems, so yeah. I'm new here. So Jaden, did you like just find the stream randomly? Are you not subbed and you've just kind of found it, like popped up on YouTube? Also, I'm going to go share this in our Discord server. I forgot to do that. Let me go to the announcements. Come tune in to me and Mick discussing our platform and answering questions. Come tune in to me and Mick discussing the platform and answering questions. Why is it not sending? There we go. Cool. 4 p.m. tuning in from UAE. I'm really bad with these kind of things. I'm just going to Google it. United Arab. Okay. Can you send a link to the Discord server? I can. It's usually in... Oh, because I'm in a stream, the description's different. Yeah, it's in all my other video descriptions, though I'll just do you a favor and go get it. Just stay here, don't worry, I'll go find it for you. Alright, here we go. Discord, copy, and paste. There you go. 1 p.m. over here in Ireland, yeah. I'm trying to think like how far. So the UK and Ireland are obviously on the same time zone. I think no other countries are on our time zone, right? Well, there's like the Faroe Islands above the UK. I have one friend from there. I didn't even know it existed until I found that guy because it's such a small place. It's hard to see on the map unless you zoom in. 5 a.m. in California. 5 a.m. Damn. Yeah, head back to bed when you get home. 5 a.m. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't wake up early like that. 5 p.m. in Pakistan. 4 p.m. Everyone's here just talking about what time it is. You know, we've got nothing better to talk about. Just gotta pass the time. I need to come up with an idea, like an improv idea, in case Mick just doesn't turn up. Yeah, does anyone actually have any questions? A good old GMT. That's less than 5% of the people I've worked with. Yeah, one thing though, Jason, obviously you tuned into the Unity live stream I did. Well, the live stream I did with Unity, I think it was 3 weeks ago today. Yeah, we actually got the, whoops, Windows notifications. Oh, I've got something on, okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah, the live stream I did with them, we actually put up the wrong time zone. Now, I'm sure no one noticed, but obviously the confusion with time zones changing from being in BST and GMT. We put, it was GMT 6 p.m, but it was actually BST 6 p.m, which most people don't even notice or know what the difference is, but there is a 1 hour difference there because of daylight saving, and yeah, no one complained that we got the wrong date, but I noticed, and we just kind of, you know, didn't mention it to anyone because if they didn't notice, then we'll be happy. How to say bool with player prefs? Off the top of my head, it's player prefs.set bool, and then you have to give it a key and a value. So the key then allows you to access it later on. So if you want to save the bool with the key, you know, I don't know, just a name for the key, and then later on you can do player prefs dot, is it check bool? I don't know. Jason might know off the top of his head. Player prefs. Just have a look at the docs. It'll explain. Player prefs dot get bool. That's it. Actually no, there is no bool. Yeah, so yeah, you can use an int as 1 or 0 basically. So obviously 1 being true and 0 being false, and that works just fine. Yeah, I avoid player prefs most of the time because if you need any kind of complex saving, then you should probably write your own or use an add-on that does it. But player prefs can be really useful, I found, for certain things. Like when I was working on some multiplayer stuff, to remember what the player's name is, so every time they open the game they don't have to enter their name again, you can save that to player prefs. But if you're doing a proper online game with, you know, through Steam or something, then you'll just grab their name from Steam. But this is if you don't have that. What else? Unity 2D animation is annoying. Well, I'm not much of an animator anyway, and anytime I'm working on a project, if I can avoid animation, I tend to do so. Like, if it's really simple animation, such as, you know, rotating one thing or moving something, I just write it in code if it's like tweening some rotation. But if it's like character animation or something, then no, I hate it. Not because it's difficult, I'm just bad at it and I don't put in the time to get better. And as an indie dev, you kind of got to, if you're on your own, you know, just learn all the tools, how to be good at, or how to be okay at modeling, animation, audio, if you can't outsource it to anyone. Hey there, what are your thoughts on the current state of VSynth and dots? The current state, that could mean one of two things. Do you mean like how it is in 2020.1 beta? Because that's going to be out of preview. I don't know when they're releasing that. I mean, maybe the whole, you know, coronavirus problem will delay that. I don't know how how much that affects certain tech companies from working from home. I know it'll probably slow down a bit. So 2020.1, they're only doing 2 releases this year, because last year and all the years before they've done 3 releases. But one big thing they're doing this year is they're doing 2 releases, but those releases are bigger and, you know, hopefully more stable because they put more time into it before rushing the next one. I'm kind of dodging the question. So ECS and dots right now, I honestly haven't used it in, I'd say, like a few weeks maybe. I did some videos on it because, you know, I had plenty of ideas and I covered those things. But the problem is most of the things I want to cover, I'm not happy to do right now just because I don't think I can do it as well as I want to be able to, because, you know, there's still plenty to learn, and also the API is changing a lot. The reason why Unity themselves aren't making, you know, they aren't making their own tutorials for it is because it's going to change. So they know that they are Unity themselves. If they make a tutorial, loads of people are going to watch it and, you know, think they are doing it this way, this is the way. Then maybe the next week, one class name changes, then everyone starts complaining it's broken and do a new video. So they're waiting till it's out of preview until everything's more stable and not going to change as much before they make their own content. And I feel like, let's see, I guess the current preview available through the package manager. Well, I don't know how much it's changed in the last few weeks, so I can't say too much. I doubt it's changed too much in the last few weeks. I think dots right now is in a state where you can learn it right now, but not use it for an actual game, because the thing is you can't use pure ECS right now because too many things aren't like dotsified yet. They haven't rebuilt them in dots, so you're gonna have to still mix and match. If you want to use like animation in dots, and the new animation thing hasn't been released yet properly, so you're still gonna have to use the normal animator mono behavior, and then you have to do like this convert and inject thing, so you keep your mono behavior version or your game object version alive and the ECS version, and they kind of are linked. Yeah, it's really confusing, and I think Jason says it right there. Most of the people who ask about dots shouldn't be using it yet, because yeah, right now dots you have to have the technical know-how, and I'm not saying I do. There's plenty of dot stuff that I don't understand just yet. I'm just gonna be patient and wait, and then when I understand it better and I know I can make better tutorials, then I will. But yeah, the state right now, I'm not making tutorials on it just yet, but I really do want to when it gets a bit more developed. I see that you developed a good community. I remember when you started streaming, there was like 2 to 5 people. Yeah, that might be 1 because the community's grown, obviously, but 2 because when I streamed on Twitch, I mean, on Twitch I had like a couple hundred followers as opposed to on YouTube like 16,000, nearly 17,000. I don't know why I chose Twitch to stream on, because like obviously most of the audience is here, so going on Twitch just kind of, you know, loses the potential. So many people don't know I'm streaming on Twitch, even if I talk about it. At least on YouTube, if you're subbed to the channel, you might get notifications. I don't know, do you need the bell on to get notifications for streams? Consider it as the future that will come, but it shouldn't be your actual workflow for at least the next 18 months. Yeah, I can't put a date on it, but definitely, yeah, don't think like, okay, in the next week I'm gonna learn dots and never make a normal, you know, classic Unity game object mono behavior project again, because there's still a lot that needs to be done on Unity side before it's ready for you to use. Ideally, like for dots, you don't want to even, you want to do complete dots, but it's not there yet. Like they're bringing out the new UI stuff, they're working on the new audio dots thing, I can't remember what it's called. They're doing the animation thing. They released like the FPS sample using it, but it's not ready for people to use properly. I actually, when I went to the Copenhagen offices, I asked one of the animation guys about like how dots animation is going to work and like state machines in dots and ECS, and basically at the moment it's all like hard coded for them when they're doing animation, but they're building this is stuff I'm allowed to say. they're building like some graph kind of thing, similar to the current state machine where you've got like the animator graph. It's not going to be the same thing. It's a brand new thing, and it's like for building the flow of logic for animation and other things. I can't remember what else they're using it for, but yeah. What else? It's been really fun, but I made nearly zero progress on a demo of it. I mean, yeah, I've obviously tried doing things, and it's really good for a certain few things I've tried. But then as soon as I want to make it, so like the way UI works right now with dots, I'm not happy with, just because, you know, let's say right now you click a button on your UI and you want the button to go do something. Right now you just, you know, register to the on-click event, or you use the Unity event to add a listener and whatever, however you want to use your button. But in ECS, it's like you've got to now write code that goes from the mono behavior world over to the ECS world, and I don't know how UI is going to work. All I know is they're developing the new UI framework called, I think it's UI Elements, and that's coming out in 2020.1. It's already out for editor scripting, but it's coming out for game UI. So right now you can build editor UI using this new method apparently, but if you want to write game, like in-game UI, you have to wait for 2020.1. Though I've heard it's actually a preview package in 2020.1, so I've never actually tried it, I've been too busy, so I might try it sometime, I want to. I don't get what dots is for. Okay, how do I sum this up really quickly without going on a like 2-hour talk about dots? Let's see if Forson explained it better than I will. It's a new stack that improves performance by removing the bloat of game objects and shifts design paradigms to ECS, so more data-oriented. Dots is ECS jobs and some other thing, I can't remember. Dots is ECS jobs and burst compiler. See, my only problem is whenever I explain dots, I know it's so technically advanced that when I explain it like in a dumb, simple way, there'll be someone who tells me I'm wrong because I didn't cover 90% of the technically advanced things. Basically, yeah, you code differently, because right now you'll make a mono behavior and you'll have data in it and you'll have logic in it, and then you stick it on a game object. But the way this works is instead of game objects, you have entities, and all an entity is an ID, and then it has components. And components, instead of having data and logic, just have data. So in your scene, you've just got data, basically. Entities with data, IDs with data. And then you have systems that aren't in your game world, they just exist. And these systems, you write queries over the entities in your scene. So you can be like, get me all the entities that have this, this, and this component, and do this logic to them. The main benefit I see architecturally, like as in from writing game logic, is you don't have to rely on references between scripts. Because right now you might have 5 scripts on your player, and then this one needs reference to that one, so you got to drag them all in and have all this cross-referencing, and then if one of them doesn't exist, then everything breaks. You need to start adding null checks, and then you've got like tons of fields. Some of them are set, some aren't set. With this, the systems only work on things that they need to work on. So there's none of that. You don't have to worry about null references and things missing because they don't run if the things are missing. Yeah, I'll just keep it. I'll cut it short because yeah. Whoops, sorry, I hit the mic. How do I save my online game achievement and stats with Facebook? I can't answer that exact question because I've like not done that. Stats with Facebook. Do Facebook have some kind of thing for game achievements? I know. Oh, do you mean like Facebook games? Because I've never published a game onto Facebook. I know you can make Facebook games. I have no idea how that is, so I'm just gonna avoid giving you false information because I don't know how that works. I've not published, but like I've made some WebGL projects and tested some of those games, but I don't know how that works with Facebook. Dots isn't. Oh yeah, sorry, I already read that. Burst, that's the one. Separating concerns, stop repeating the game logic. Just joined. What is this in the context? Do you mean, wait, are we on about like C#, just what this means? Unpronounceable, can you just explain what you're referring to? Because I can answer the question if it's like, what does this mean in C# or JavaScript or whatever. Hybrid mode is an easier way to introduce yourself, but it's still not concrete implementation, so expect breaking changes. Yeah, the problem with hybrid is you then write dots code that isn't going to be like how it will be when it's pure dots. So you kind of get the false understanding of how it works because you've got to always be thinking about now, oh, but how will this work with mono behaviors and how do I make this update my bit of UI? It's going to be completely different. So what I was just talking about. Okay, now I have to remember what was I talking about. What was I saying? What was I talking about when I said this? I will answer the question. I've just honestly forgotten. The difference with dots is that it makes the memory continuous, aka contiguous, aka it offers make it easier for it to work. Yeah. So, like right now, I don't know if you've ever seen the Unity visual examples of dots in ECS. Maybe I can actually find it. Basically, you see these squares of data all scattered around the place, and if you looped over all these things, you know, you want to go grab this health component, you've got to go find the game object, you get all this data of the game object, then you got to go find that component and get that data. The way it works right now is everything is like packed tightly together linearly, so all your entities that have similar component structures, I think they call them archetypes, they put them together, so then when you do your queries, it's really fast, because it's just, let me see if I can find it. Unity dots, like data, I don't know. Images, can I find an image? Oh, it's my video. It's like this. This is the image I'm thinking of. Open a new tab. Okay. Let me just check the chat again, but you guys will see what I mean. Who is Mick? Mick is like, oh, wait, oh, I've got notifications on Discord. Does a lot of number of empty game objects affect the gameplay? It depends what you mean by lots, but even if you added like 1,000 empty game objects, you probably wouldn't notice a performance difference, or at least like I've not tested it, but yes, those game objects have a component, right? They have the transform component, so they still need to be managed by the engine, right? Because they have a position, a rotation, a scale, and there's other data with it, but you're not going to notice that difference. But why would you have loads of empty game objects, or is that your question? Like, do you just want to know? A way to avoid having so many scripts on your player. I was talking about a way to avoid having scripts on your player. So I was saying like, it's okay. Right now, let's say you have 5 different scripts. Like you've got some health script and some damage resistance thing. Well, your health system or your health, thing on your player needs reference to the damage reduction system, so it can, read the data or say like, how much of this damage should I take? And so you need that reference across the 2 scripts. This health script needs to know about this other script. So if you ever have a player that doesn't have resistances, so just has health and always takes full damage, then you've got to have some null checks, because or you just give it the other script and don't set anything up. But you don't want to just add extra data for no reason and extra behavior onto an object, because then you've got unnecessary extra stuff, and it just bloats it up, especially in the editor. You've got extra scripts that don't need to be there. With ECS, the point is the damage reduction system would only work on things that have health and whatever damage reduction component you have. So it just means that like you don't need references between the scripts, because the systems do that for you in a much better way, and it's more performant. You just need less stuff in the inspector. It makes it just easier to read and everything. I'm sorry for bringing up ECS. I think I've derailed something. Don't worry. We needed something to talk about while we wait. But Mick's going to be here. He said in 5 minutes, and that was like a minute or 2 ago. One problem I have with all the buzz around dots is that data-oriented design is diametrically opposed to object-oriented programming, a topic I think should be learned first, have enough grounding in related concepts. Yeah, jumping, like if you know object-oriented and you just jump into ECS trying to like code a project and you don't know how it works, then like, yeah, you probably do stuff wrong, or you'll spend a lot of time scratching your head. It is best. So I don't think I spent too much time trying to understand dots before I went into it. Everyone learns at different rates, but I started off by just watching loads of the Unity things talking about dots, and some of the YouTubers who already made content on it at the time, just talking about how the structure is and like the thought behind it. What's Hack and Plan? Have you ever used Trello? It's like Trello for projects, but for games. So like it's got some extra, let's say wisdom training, planned, in progress, testing, completed, and then when you make the different tasks, you put them in categories. It is just like Trello, a project planning thing, but I find it like better for making games. It's just something I've tried. I think someone recommended it to me, and I quite like it. But yeah, the thing I was on about with like how the data is, think about it right now. Like these are all your different game objects with all the jumble of data based on the game object all over the place. But now it's more like this. So if you write a query to loop over everything with whatever these three components are, then they're in memory placed together so that when you do a query and loop over them, it's just done. You don't have to jump all over the place in memory. Hack and Plan is great. Oh, so I'm not the only one who actually uses it here. Would you like to make a tutorial for an open world game like GTA or TOD? Am I being dumb? What's TOD? TOD. I'm probably just... is that Total Overdose or something? I've googled it. I don't know what Total Overdose is, if that's the game. The problem is, I'm trying to go for more of a, like, teaching certain code things in games, teaching certain Unity features. The problem is, if I make a thing about, like, an open world game, then I'll have to do a series on it. And that means that if I do, let's say, 4 Unity tutorials a week, maybe 3 or 4, it depends if I do a stream and whatever else. Let's just say 4, though. Then maybe I do 2 a week on that, but then that now is only 2 of my normal content. And what if people don't like the series? The problem with a series on YouTube is people like really like the first video, but then as you go down in the series, less and less people are interested. The longer it goes on for, people lose interest. There'll be a few people who are still interested, but also the problem with a series is if you're interested from episode 1 and then you watch it, you're kind of wanting episode 2. You have to wait for that, and then let's say I planned on doing 15 episodes and I'm done. Then I get to episode 15, I say I'm done, and then people are not happy that I've not continued with it. So yeah, not many like coding people on YouTube really do a series. They don't work very well. That's what kind of Udemy's for. And funnily enough, I'm actually working on a Udemy course right now. I've never done one before, so it's kind of just a trial, I guess. I'm just making one for a series on how to make a tower defense game, but focused mainly on like the architecture and obviously building the game systems and mechanics. But yeah, I just thought I'd try it a bit as like to do a series. So if I ever do a series, it'll be on Udemy, but for all the like standalone tutorials, it'll be on YouTube. What is your age? I am 19 and 2 months and 2 days to be exact. Yeah, my birthday is February the 22nd, 2001. Miro is also good planning software for visual learners, not really game development specific, but it's good for planning. What's that? Miro? Whoops. Miro. Oh. Team collaboration software. So it's good, but not game development specific. I mean, I can have a look into it. Sometimes after a stream, I come back and look at the chat to see what people are on about, like if in case I miss something. So when I come back, I might see that and try it out. People are talking quite fast. I need to go back and keep reading. Another topic would be ML agents. That is something I'm considering doing because that's a topic that could have its own video or maybe like a 2-part series, like just you know, an A and a B if it takes too long. Because people like shorter videos. I mean, most people would rather see like 2 15-minute videos than 1 30-minute video. So then they can like watch one and then watch the next one separately rather than in one big long go. And if they're both like released, then obviously you can just watch one they can watch them both back to back. It's also easier for me to record it and get it done and like edit it and upload it. Like, you know, doing one day a 15-minute video, the next day 15-minute, because doing a 30-minute video, that's usually more than 30 minutes raw footage. So it might be like close to an hour, and then you've got to edit it, and then the export takes a while. And doing that all in one go can sometimes, you know, be quite taxing. I don't have an editor, so I've got to do everything myself. The truth is, no YouTuber will ever really do a full-size game tutorial. It has low retention, it's hard to explain, and honestly, 90% of the value, 90% of the value of code training. Yeah, that's true, because let's say someone says, "Oh, teach me how to make an FPS." Then I do an FPS tutorial series. Chances are whatever I do is not going to be exactly how they want it. And if I did go to exactly how they want it, then someone else will complain it's not how they want it. That's the problem with covering a genre of game. Now, if you do it right and keep it really generic, and for example, like with a tower defense, if you just teach kind of how to do the core mechanics of, you know, having a shop where you can buy turrets and place them, and those turrets can find enemies and shoot them. If you do it really abstract like that without being too specific, like I'm not trying to make a replica of Bloons tower defense or something, then I think that's better, because anyone that wants to make a tower defense game can take that and make it themselves. With open world game, that's even more generic, because an open world game could be anything, right? It could be like Skyrim, it could be a first person RPG. I mean, technically you can go third person Skyrim too, but regardless, it could be like GTA, where you know, go around driving. I don't play much GTA, but I've seen it. You know, it's really up to you. That's so vague. Like if I made a series how to make an open world game, it doesn't really mean anything, you know. Hopefully I answered that well. How does look your process for optimizing? Are you asking, like, once I've written some code, how do I look back over to refactor it and make it like better? Or is that a question about like how to use the profiler in Unity to see the performance of your scripts? That's aimed at NEM007 or NEME007. I agree, maybe just do what retains your viewers. Well, it's not always about just caving into whatever the viewers want, because obviously that's quite often looked down upon as well, because most people want the creator to do what they want, right? Because it means they're happier, they generally create better content, so it actually benefits both people. But if you're doing something and everyone just like hates it, then you might want to reconsider. But yeah, only really just getting into game dev, though I've dabbled in Unreal Engine and Unity in the past with little progress, with dots and ECS style getting traction. Would it still be viable to learn object-oriented style programming? It definitely is still viable, yeah. I wouldn't just not learn it because of ECS being a thing that will be coming out. Object-oriented is not going anywhere. I mean, in terms of Unity, it's not going anywhere. Like, they're still keeping object-oriented. They've not said they're gonna like just get rid of that part of the engine. They're gonna try and have both coexist. As for other areas of software development, object-oriented is gonna still be really important. So, yeah, definitely learn it. Don't just skip it. Jason is saying, is learning how to approach problem 7, and for people looking for exact answers to exact game questions, they're missing the point. Yeah, it's all about learning the tools of how to make the game you want to make. Like, if I want to make a specific RPG I have in mind, and I'm on about single player, you know, small scale RPG, not something crazy like an MMO, because you'll have seen it and heard it 100,000 times. Don't make an MMO unless you're working for some AAA company that's making an MMO and they have the money and time and teams. The point is, yeah, if you're making a game and you've got your vision, your goal shouldn't be find someone who makes a tutorial on that type of game, because, you know, that's not the right... Oh, Mick's calling me. One sec. Hello, you are on stream. Oh, you should be on stream. People can say if they hear you. Should, though. Obviously, I said we'll be waiting for Mick. Let's just have some like filler content. And I said people can ask questions, but everyone still seemed to want to ask about game dev. So we're on that topic. I think I'm going to answer the questions that are in chat right now, and then we cut it off there, and no more game dev, and then we go back to what we're doing. So let's just answer the remaining questions, which will probably be me mainly answering them anyway. When pick up object, I want to show it for duration and fade out the color when they're finished. But if the player pick again, I think this is one of those too specific questions to answer right now because I have to sit down and think about it. Maybe this is the time to mention the ticket system. One sec. What are your computer specs? Off the top of my head, my graphics card's a GTX 970. I got it like 3 or 4 years ago, and I got it on sale for 100 quid. And at the time, it was kind of new. It was like 200 or 300 quid, but I got it for 100 because Black Friday. So, and I've got what else have I got? 16 gigs of RAM. I don't know. What is the processor I've got? It's a Ryzen 7, I think, or Ryzen 5. Yeah, I mean, for doing game dev, you don't need a good PC. I could use Unity on like my old, really bad laptop, and it ran fine for making a game. I know if the game is obviously like really demanding, like I'm on a blank project with like some cubes and writing a bit of simple code, that was no problem. Will you add server authority to your mirror tutorials? Well, the mirror tutorials already have server authority. Like anywhere where you call a command method that then gets run on the server, you just write the logic there to authorize. So imagine your players like set their username or set their display name. When they tell the server what their name is, they pass it through as a string. All you need to do on the server is then have the checks for like, is it too many characters? Maybe you have like a profanity filter and you check if it's got swear words, whatever. All that logic should be done on the server where you receive the string they want to use for their name. That's kind of how you do authority for that. Did you give up on the RPG series? Yeah, that's the thing. So like any series I've done in the past, I've realized over time it was a bad idea. That's why I've avoided series for the last like month or 2 or 3. I don't know. And I think people are enjoying it a lot more without a series now. I do plan on doing some like really short series kind of things. Maybe like a short series, like 2 or 3 episodes on how to create this character from this game or whatever. People liked that when I did it in the past. I made like Genji's abilities from Overwatch. I also did like Tracer's, I think. I made her like dash and her recall. And then from Apex Legends, I made Lifeline's heal drone and care package. I don't know. Basically, people did like those, and I think I might do some of those again. Those were quite fun. I don't know if I should do them in a programming style way, like where it's a long video of like making the entire thing, or whether it should be more of like a kind of like a montage of showing the steps of me making it with bits of code. I can always like give the code on GitHub down below or whatever, It depends what people prefer, if they want a fully fledged tutorial or just a like overview. The reason the topics I favor are things like polymorphic design patterns, is that learning to draw is 100 times more valuable learning how to save JSON, whatever. Yeah, it's basically with anything, it's better to learn the skills than to learn how to do one thing specifically, because as soon as you want to then go make your own thing, you don't have the tools to do it and you're stuck. Yeah, I think like if I ever oh, they can still only hear me. Oh, I've got you muted. All right, say everything you just said again. Oh, okay, no, start again. I've got it now.
Yeah. It's the same thing for like that we see in the Discord server as well, with people just trying to get too many things done at the start when they just started creating all the like programming. Yeah, it's just I'm not saying don't try to get do new things, of course, because that's how you learn. But yeah, you still have to keep in mind that don't do like
it is hard to like judge
project that's way too big for you at the start. Just start with some small things and like make everything step by step, so you learn instead of, oh yeah, I want this end product and now I'm gonna just make my way through it.
Yeah, the way
That's
I see it,
not how it works. Really.
The way I see it is, if I wanted to make a 2D platformer, I wouldn't necessarily Google how to make a 2D platformer. I'd think, okay, what do I need for a 2D platformer? I need movement on like one axis rather than, like it would just be left and right, up and down as well. And I'd think, okay, I need like platforms, and I need maybe some form of attacking when I click. So then I write like those things down, and then figure out, okay, how do I do those things? So, how do I do movement like this? Well, I need to, affect the transform component, because the transform component is where I am. So I need to either go with the rigid body way of, using the physics engine to drive my movement, or using just like normal transforms and character controllers. I don't think character controllers are a thing in 2D. I don't do 2D really. So it might be different, but it still means the same thing, right? Like I Google the small little steps I need to do if I get stuck, rather than how to make this type of game, because most of the time it doesn't work. Now, in the way of a course, it's kind of different, because let's say, for example, you start learning Unity and you've never done anything before, it might be good to work through like a simple game with someone else from the start to the finish, because you learn a lot of tools that you don't even know about. The problem is when you don't know about tools, like, I'm trying to think of an example in Unity. It's like trying to optimize your game but not knowing the profiler exists. You're not gonna do it. Yeah, maybe you end up finding some like asset for it. You need to know what Unity has, and then know like how to use it. There's still things in Unity I don't know about, but that's because I never ever use them. Let's actually try and get through these questions. I'm just gonna keep rambling otherwise. Do you use scriptable event system across your projects? I used to use it more than I do now, because as with anything, like, just because I found something half a year ago and thought it was good, and then obviously the more I use it, that's when you really put it to the test and see if it actually is good. And the scriptable events thing is really useful for quick kind of iteration. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, your player dies, it raises the scriptable object event. Now this other thing knows about it without any actual hard-coded linking between the two. But when you get like to a bigger scale game, then it starts to become a problem. And obviously, I'm not going to get into it right now. We don't want to keep going off track. But to answer the question, do I use it across my projects? I'd say no. But they still can be useful on like simple games. Hi Dino, hi Mr. Holiday. Okay, so this is the point where you joined, because Jason was on about only hearing me, but I've got the audio working now because Courtsy heard you. Do I have some way to go for method optimizing like object pooling and batching? So if it comes to like graphical optimization, I'm not that knowledgeable about it. I know a little bit, but yeah. So for object pooling, it's a case of I mean, I'm assuming if you know what it is, you probably know how it works too. But for those of you who don't, it's where you spawn in, like, let's say your character shoots off projectiles. You spawn in those projectiles, like a ton of them at the start, and you disable them all, so that when you need to fire, you don't have the lag of instantiating something. Because if you instantiate a lot of things, you will notice the lag. And especially if you're instantiating and destroying things, you get garbage collection. That takes time. You'll notice lag spikes in the profiler. It's more efficient to like spawn in a ton at the start, or during a loading screen, or the kind of times where the player doesn't notice the lag. And then whenever you fire, you just enable the bullet or whatever, you fire it, and then when you need to spawn a new one in, you just disable the oldest one and re-enable it, and then shoot that one off again. So you kind of recycle, or pool the projectiles. Okay, and finally, someone said, and what if I know the theory, yet I don't know how to do or how to use the theory? Obviously, that's the thing in school as well. They teach you tons of math, and you're kind of like, well, what's that used for? So I guess there is no good answer to that, apart from, at least in my case for the tutorials, I try and mention in every video where I do some kind of programming concept for Unity, I explain where you would use it in game development. Thinking of an example, I mean, like, I covered like instantiation the other day and explained this is obviously used when you're spawning things in, whether that's, spawning a player in, or in bullets, or whatever it is. And then if it's to do with events, events are commonly used for updating UI, for example. And I usually do my videos in context of when you would use them. I do an example of like how they're used. I did one yesterday on mouse events, so like on drag, on mouse down and up, and I explained how you can use that for example, dragging items around an inventory, or things like that. You can click on the UI and like drag and move an icon, and then maybe when you release it snaps back, or it just stays there. It's up to you. A common mistake in a lot of pool systems is turning on and off items still iterates on tree and enable disables everything. So for big trees, you're better off turning off the visuals, aka the renderer, and stop running the behaving controllers than actually disabling entire child tree. I'm guessing the way you do that is perhaps you would have a list of like components you want to disable, because I imagine if you had different kinds of pools for different things, there'd be different things that need enabling and disabling. So you'd want that to be, you don't want a script per different one, and like Oh, someone's being loud outside. I can't shut my window, sorry, because it's so hot in here. I'll sweat to death if I shut my windows. We'll just wait for the loud motorbike to go past, or whatever. I don't know if you guys can even hear that, honestly. Anyway,
you can hear it, but in the far
yeah,
distance.
I think we're done with the game dev questions. Let's stop before anyone else asks anymore. we can have more game dev questions maybe later on or on another day when we do a stream. You know, there's always time. Also, if you want like help on a specific thing that I've done a video on, then just ask in that description. I can't promise that I'll answer it because there's enough. There's so many videos I've got and people commenting on videos from 2 years ago now, like my oldest videos. I mean, one thing to speed up answering comments now, they've added some machine learning thing for like automated responses based on, you get it on emails, right? Like when someone emails you, it says like some responses based on what they said that you might want to use. They've done that for YouTube comments, so that actually does help. Like here, maybe use NVIDIA's RTX voice. I saw about that yesterday or the day before. Have you seen it, Mick?
No, but I have seen something in Discord.
I saw a guy with a fan and a hammer, and he was smacking his desk, had the fan on loud, like the leaf blower or something, and was talking, and you could hear him perfectly without any of that sound.
Okay.
Like, I'm not an audio engineer, but it seemed pretty cool, like, how that actually is. It's crazy Chrome performs far better than I thought it would. Yeah, Discord now has a built-in, like, noise cancellation thing, but it, like, screws up the quality. My friend tried using it, and it, like, by screws up the quality, I mean, it sounds less natural now. Like, yeah, you don't hear clapping in the background or sounds or whatever, but it just makes them sound less human. And when you're talking to your friends, you don't want them to sound weird, you know? What is the events performance test video coming out? Oh, someone remembers that I said I'd do that. That means I'll have to do it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a video idea, right? I mean, we're on Friday now, so maybe that's Monday's idea. Knowing me, I'll probably forget. Nah, there are some times when I do when I do genuinely like forget. Not genuinely forget. Sorry, when I genuinely like run out of ideas. So that's when I'll do that. Because I want to test C# events against Unity events against alt events, the different event things I use. Maybe even my own the script. Well, it's not my own, but it's Ryan Hipple, like the scriptable object events. I mean, I made the way I do it is slightly different to the way he does it, but I made it like based on his way because I didn't even know. He was where I first found out about scriptable objects. I think that's the case for like most people. Is that Ryan Hipple talk, the legendary talk that everyone knows about. The alternative is to buy a $400 mic. Well, my mic is just my headset mic, and my headset's about 15 quid. This is the second time I bought this headset. The last time I had it, it lasted about 2 years before it started going dodgy. And I'd say 15 quid for 2 years is pretty good, so I just bought the same one again. And it's lasted for about a year so far, and it's going fine. Anyway, I think the questions are over this. Yeah, the platform. Let's close this thing now. So what we're going to start with. I've been talking for 51 minutes now, so you can start.
Yeah,
you can take over.
I think we should start with the ticket system. I think that's the
just
most
to show it off and maybe
get
get some feedback, answer some questions, and talk about the improvements. Because before we do anything here, guys, just remember we're both back-end developers, and stuff might not look perfect, but when we get the time to put in on the visuals and user experience, it'll look a lot better. Because right now, we're using a template, as you can probably tell by this random image of some glasses and a notepad in the background. We will be replacing images and, you know, adding, like, changing the colors, because the main color of this website is, like, purple, pretty much. So we'll be changing all this stuff. Obviously, we'll have to find a color that works and doesn't look ugly to replace it with. But one of the things me and Mick have been working on mainly for the last week, as in, like, the previous week we worked on it, and we used to have a ticket system, many of you may know about this, where, okay, should we go over the entire story of the ticket system? Because it's had many iterations. We started off...
Yeah, just to explain a bit about it.
Yeah, so the problem was, I made the Discord server, and it was small. People would ask questions, we'd answer them. And then more and more people joined, and more people joined, and the server got quite full. And the problem was, so many people were asking questions over each other. You couldn't get help, because by the time someone had read your question, there was 10 more questions. So we needed a way to, have questions in separate channels, because obviously that's the only way you can help people individually. It was too hard. And obviously we knew that as the server kept growing, this was going to become more and more of a problem. So we made a ticket system with our Discord bot, where whenever you make a ticket, so you do a command like $ticket, it'd make you a channel, and then in that channel, it's private for you and our teacher team, our helper team. And so those helpers that we've picked out ourselves can help you, basically. The problem is if we let it open to everyone, then, everyone will be flooding all these random channels. People could troll and just get in the way. You want a place for someone to answer your question. And this worked, but then we saw problems with it in the future, because if we had so many tickets being made that we ran out of the max number of channels you can have in Discord, that'll be a problem. And also, we started developing our website, and we wanted tickets on our website, and because we made our website as opposed to Discord making Discord, we have much more control. We can add more features to the website that we can't really do in Discord. So for a while, we tried syncing tickets, and in hindsight, it was a really bad idea, because what would happen is you make a ticket, it gets added to our database, we then have the ticket on our website, and it's only for you and teachers, just like in Discord. And then when you send a message in one, it gets sent in the other. So if you send it in Discord, it gets sent on the website. If you send it on the website, our bot will send a message on your behalf. So it'll say, message from this person, and it'll send it in Discord. So you could process your ticket and deal with it with someone, regardless if you're both on the website, both in Discord, or one on each. Then we thought about problems like, what in the future if we want to go on another platform that has chat? Well, now we need to sync between all three, and it's going to be maybe not possible. And at the end of the day, we decided tickets is best to keep on our website. We shouldn't have any synced chat in Discord of our website. It didn't really make sense in the end. So we did a big overhaul of that. And some other feedback on tickets is that tickets should be public. Not in Discord though. We don't have them in Discord anymore. You can actually create a ticket in Discord, and we plan in the future of doing stuff like, for example, we'll make an app, right, which is more mobile friendly than the website on your phone.
Way more mobile friendly.
Exactly.
I've been looking at the website from my mobile, but
yeah,
there's a few things I want to change.
So obviously we'll make a mobile app for it, and then you can use your personal assistant like Siri, Cortana, whatever, Google, and say, okay, Google, make me a ticket. And then it'll ask you some questions like, what do you want to call your ticket? What is it about? Like what programming language or whatever. And that data will then be sent to us via an API request. And then we will make you a ticket. Obviously, you'll have to be signed in on the app for this to work. We're not going to go into too much detail and technicalities unless people want to know. And then, so then you can use your phone to make a ticket. Now, we use Discord to do this already. You can go into a channel in our server, do $ticket, and then you get a dialogue with the bot. So the bot will ask you a question, you respond, it'll store it, then it'll keep doing it until you finish making your ticket, then it'll send it via an API request, and do what I just said we do with Google Home or whatever. But we're not at that point yet, we just got it in Discord right now. And
quick question: had a peek at the code. I'm guessing you are hosted on Azure. That's right. The problem with 1v1 tickets, though, is you will get a lot of duplicate and needlessly specific questions.
Yeah. So one thing is, when they were private, people couldn't use a ticket as a resource. That's one thing we mainly wanted to do now that we've made them public. Is that once you've been helped with something, like Stack Overflow, right? Once you've been helped with something, then someone can go and use that in the future and get help without having to ask the question again. So this ticket revamp public stuff can be, all we have right now is a table, right, displaying all the tickets. We released this a day or two ago. And then what we're going to do is, in our next updates, is add a search bar for tickets. So you can search, obviously, what you need help with and find relevant tickets that have already been solved or even that are still open. And then we're also going to make it so that when you're making a ticket, we then take what you're making a ticket about and we do magic AI stuff. We'll use machine learning, obviously, to identify tickets that are similar to the one you're trying to make. We're not going to do some crude, check if the string is the same as the other string thing, because that won't work most of the time. We'll make it more sophisticated. We want it so that it kind of prevents people from making duplicate tickets, because it'll, say, hey, these tickets are similar to the one you're trying to make. Check out these before you make yours, kind of thing. So we will get duplicate tickets, but nowhere near as many, basically.
Okay, unless I am missing something, it seems like you are making your own version of Stack Exchange themes. You can just make them, as in use it as a web template. I'd say no. Like, yeah, you can make Stack Exchange themes, but this is definitely not the same.
We want our own thing, like
yeah, like
the control over it.
This will also answer the other question, if this is WordPress or if we coded this ourselves, and we definitely coded all of this ourselves. The main big reason why we want tickets is to help support the rest of the platform, really, because it's not only that the Stack Overflow like ticket system. There's more to it. We can have multiple implementations of these tickets, and then based on the implementation, we, for example, render a different page or whatever. So what we can do is, for example, once we've got our learning paths up and running, you can actually make a ticket about an article. So imagine just reading through a learning path and you're just stuck. So what you can do is, or you go to Stack Overflow and ask it there, or you ask it to the team that created the article. So there's just so many different implementations of these tickets that will make it way different from Stack Overflow.
Yeah, the main difference being Stack Overflow is Stack Overflow. That's its one thing, right? It's there for people to do this one thing we're trying to make. We're not necessarily competing against them. We're not going to be coming up above them on the Google thing for a certain question.
That's not the goal.
It's more of this is for people using our platform. It'd be great if people that have never heard of us do a search and get help through our own tickets. That will happen. To what extent, we don't know. But the point is, right now, our community is heavily pretty much C#, bit of JavaScript. We want to support any language and framework, really. And that's the thing. We're going to, over time, reach out to other people. Once we start with these articles, we've got it implemented already. We just need more content and to improve the flow of things. Right now, all we can really make is C# related content because that's all we have knowledgeable people on. But then we can start with other things. And then as we cover more languages and frameworks and questions and things, more people can learn more things. Then we'll get more tickets on different topics. And then we'll have more teachers answering. Well, that's the thing. You don't have to be a teacher to answer a ticket now. Anyone can help you, which is better, in my opinion, because tickets generally will get answered faster. And we will make it obvious that the person helping is a teacher. Because right now, everyone just looks the same when they're responding to a ticket. We're going to add badges that display whether you're a teacher, how many tickets you've helped with, just like achievements almost, or the stat tracking. Because that's useful for the person to know, to show off their badges, right? People showing off things they've collected. And it also helps us see who's active. So if we see some really active person who isn't a teacher, we might reach out to them and ask, do they want to become a teacher? Right, I don't want to dump in a few seconds, but for perseverance, the question I would ask is, what is the goal? Is the goal to help people or to build a platform? If the goal is to help people, rather than reinventing the wheel, a combination of a subreddit, a Discord, and a Stack Exchange will give a feature you want more, but allow you to testbed it without the cost. Well, we're already at the point where we've got the different things we want. They just need to be improved. Because everything that we're doing right now started off as a small scale thing just for our server, and we never at the start expected it to for things to grow, and everything we've made is to help the people in our server and just in our community. Originally, tickets was made as a way for us to help our community, but then we realized that at the end of the day, I'm not going to be making content on every language and framework that exists, but we want obviously to be able to support that and have other content creators we can reach out to and work with to put content on here. when someone makes a video, they can go post about it on Reddit. The thing is, Reddit is about anything. Now, yes, there are subreddits about certain things. The point is, our stuff, how to explain it? So like on YouTube, anyone can go post, and there's lots of good content creators and lots of bad ones, and you've got to obviously filter through those kind of things. Yeah, people would argue, like, if we choose who to have on our platform, then obviously we might miss out on some good people. But we're trying to build a way, like a platform, for someone to come that's never done coding or has done coding. It doesn't really matter what level you're at. And we guide them like into resources that will help them, tickets that will answer their questions, ways to get like private tutoring if you want it, that kind of thing. It's an education platform. I don't know if you want to explain things.
As Learn About Life Through Programming said, it's a new education paradigm. I think that's kind of correct. A correct way of explaining what we're trying to accomplish, at least. We're just trying to, instead of, because the argument of why are you building a clone of Stack Overflow? Why are you building a clone of this? Why are you building a clone of that? Well, it's not so much as that we want to compete with any of these things. No, we want to help people and bring everything together as a whole. Like, for example, our tickets, for example, the suggestions, the learning, like everything should come together. So if a developer wants to start learning new stuff right now, they go to YouTube, they go to Google, they go to whatever website, right? And they have to find the content. And what we try to do is we want to provide the platform for quality content and quality help. So our students, instead of, oh my god, I want to learn something about programming, where do I start? Well, you start on our website. We will provide you the tools, the information, and the people to like actually become a developer.
We're not going to tell someone like, oh, you've got a question and we don't know it. Don't go to Stack Overflow. You have to stay here. You know, obviously people are going to use the other things as well, but we want to be able to supply the things they need. And also, let's say you've got a problem with one of my videos or with an article on our website. The thing is, if you go on Stack Overflow and you want help with a specific thing, most of the time what I've seen is they just tell you, go ask the person who made it, you know, like just because if it's that specific. Now, if it's a general programming thing, obviously they might help you, or, you know, people will just be like, oh, duplicate by, you know, like there's so many. I've had good experiences with Stack Overflow, but also bad ones. And I'm not saying this will be perfect, because we'll obviously have people maybe that have used Stack Overflow that have the same kind of mentality, you know. But at the end of the day, we imagine someone coming in wanting to learn programming. Obviously, it's not only for absolute beginners. And it's a place where they get articles, and they know people on this website are active. The people who made those articles are active. They can help you. YouTube comments isn't like designed for getting help, I don't think, really, because you kind of lose track of really old videos. It's not really a ticketing system, you know. YouTube comments doesn't really work very well. From that. It's really hard to like help someone in YouTube comments, because most of the time their question is too complex. Most of the time, not all the time. If it's okay, that's the thing. If it's a really quick question like, oh, how come you use this? Then sure, I'll just answer in the YouTube comments. This is more for like, I'm genuinely stuck on something, help me through it. Or I've got this error, how do I fix it? And most of the questions we get will be to do with content on our platform, so we'll have the people here to answer it directly. Sure, we'll also get people answering generic programming questions like, what is this error? Or how do I do this in this language?
Of course.
And that's good. That means they're choosing us over Stack Overflow for that kind of question. We don't have problems with that, obviously.
It's not that that's one of our goals to like overtake Stack Overflow in any way, really.
We want to
we've got our own goals, and the ticket system is part of our goals.
Yeah, it's more about the integration.
Just like the learning platform.
It's more about the integration we can have. Like, so for example, the like possibility of tutoring. So we can have it so our helper team are like interviewed by us. We know they've like, we check their like portfolios. and we usually will see if they've been active in our community already, to see how they act towards people. We can look at all that stuff. And then if we choose to accept them, they will have the opportunity to do one-to-one mentoring with students through us. So what can happen is...
but Nathan, how do I become a teacher then?
Why are you asking this? You just want to show off the application website. I've honestly not looked at it since you've worked on it, because I've been too busy looking at tickets and suggestions. So...
just a quick thing.
Do you want to mention this?
Right, but half of my career has been being paid to make prototypes for people who want to make X but better. Prototypes that never go anywhere. Don't get me wrong, I love the goal, but as someone who teaches the same principles as I do of not creating a MMO where you don't have any experience making an MMO, this from my experience is the backend MMO question. I get what you're saying, and you probably have your good reasons for it, but we are here to actually change the way people are learning development right now, and we're gonna do our best. I mean, we can't promise that we're gonna be the #1 platform or whatever, but that's definitely one of our goals, to just actually help people. And there's so many things that we can talk about right now, because we're just focusing on tickets, but there's like maybe 20 more ideas that we have that bring our platform like closer and closer to the truth of it being the #1 platform for starting developers.
Yeah, because at the moment, obviously, it's just us two, and we've got, as you said, many, many plans and ideas.
Yeah.
And the thing is, one of our problems at the start was trying to implement like 20 new things at once, and they're all existent, but they don't work very well. So we recently have obviously thought about, okay, where's our focus? Our focus is on the student side, like people coming to our website, where do we send them? What resources do we have for them? How do we help them? How do we get them to stick around and learn, basically?
Yeah.
So that's been our focus recently. So the revamp of the ticket system is going to help people a lot more. And as more tickets are made and solved, more people will make tickets. And the thing is, we noticed, funnily enough, we used to have an FAQ page, and we put some random FAQ things up there from some questions people asked a long time ago. And that page, we just kind of forgot about it. And then we found out that our most like searched or most recommended page on Google when people have searched it was that page. It got quite a lot of clicks from people just searching like some coding questions.
It was completely random.
Yeah, like people just...
some really weird error that occurred because of one of the if you watched one of our old videos, then the error would occur, but it would be fixed like a few seconds later on in the video. But people weren't just looking a few more seconds. No, they just immediately went to Google and keyboard warrior typed the question like, how do I fix this? And actually found our FAQs. So that was really funny to see, like the organic flow of the people searching for specific things.
And now with tickets, it's going to be even better, because they'll just be like, over time, as people make tickets and they get answered, tickets in general just get more traction. Like now the thing is, I guess the main thing people want to know, or maybe it's just Jason, is I understand the scope problem of like, oh, it's a big project, but the thing is, it's not like, so with an MMO, there's so many technical problems that you have to overcome, and the actual workload requires a huge team. The thing is, we know right now that before this is going to be like sustainable, it will take time. And that's why right now me and Mick are like making money in other ways, so then we can support ourselves doing this. This isn't like, working on this website isn't paying us full-time salary right now or anything like that.
No.
That's not the point. We're not right now doing this to make money, because it is a risk, obviously, with anyone starting any startup. It's a risk.
I mean, we've been working on this for about a year now, in many different ways, of course.
That's the problem, because when we started, I didn't do web dev. We've changed like the framework we originally used, and the entire website has changed, because we've had our vision has changed over time. When we started the website, I was doing YouTube whilst I was at school as like a side hobby. And we made the website just as, I mean, what did we even have originally? It was pretty much just the FAQ page and some information about us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right at the start, there was nothing fancy. And then our recent change is because we've now started to take it more seriously. And that's why we're thinking in our community, what do people want? And then as well as our community, like, why don't we just like branch out, you know? Because, what's it? It's the same.
I mean, we can spend our own time in this project, so like you don't have to worry about that. I'd say.
Yeah, we're not risking everything on it. We're not like no. I mean, if everything just like fails after putting in like like another year and nothing's happening, and then we have to go our own ways, then you know that's not gonna cause any problems.
No.
Because there's other stuff we can do. But the point is, right now, this is going well. And we see it working. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say as the person who's doing it, because I watch like Dragon's Den and stuff, you know, people coming in with ideas. Obviously, they're like companies wanting investment, so they've got to prove themselves like even more so. They've got to have a good track record and this, that, and the other. But yeah, you can look as an outside person and see, oh, that person's crazy, or they're like, that's a stupid idea and that's never going to work. And most of the time it doesn't, when people think like that. So yeah, I think we obviously, every time we come up with an idea, have to say, are we being crazy or is this actually realistic? And at the end of the day, like systems like, you know, the ticket system and like having articles on our website, that's nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be like, I don't know. Everything already exists in a way. You know what I mean? Like you can't, it's very hard to be the first person to do something unique because it's hard to say like every good idea is taken. Everything we want to put on our platform already exists in some form somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So of course someone could say, oh, you should use that person's because theirs already exists. The problem is then our website would end up just being like
empty.
It was, yeah, we wouldn't have anything. And it's just the main reason why making it ourselves is better for us is it allows us to have full control over it. Like every little thing we want, anything we want to change. It's the problem that we had with Discord originally. We tried to integrate with Discord, so Discord was our like main messaging place. But then we have problems because trying to integrate Discord with our website just didn't work well. So now we're using Discord as a simple just thing to do API calls to like create a ticket and create a suggestion or whatever. We're keeping it much simpler than that. You can spend your own time, but one bit of advice is that that time you spend is not free. It costs not paying yourself, and the cost of potential loss salary from another job. Are you typing or like in the chat?
No, yeah, I don't know, man. It's whatever.
It's obviously like, it's gonna be hard to convince people because
no, I don't want to convince anyone, and everyone has their own like views and like has their own experiences, of course, and that's perfectly fine. We just the last thing I want to say about like time spent and that kind of stuff. I'm more than happy to spend at least another year working on this project because I think there's many things that we can do to like actually make the experience of becoming a programmer way better than it is right now. We've got like plans for right now, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. We've got all these kind of plans that we want to do, and like how we can grow and grow and grow, and how we can actually change something in the educational system. But I don't think we should spend time thinking about like our 10-year goals. It's just not gonna be something that we can actually show off in like the next 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, it's something like we'll look back on and
we just want to keep discussing things that we can actually prove and show right now, instead of thinking about the 10-year plans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like we can grow to it and maybe do some more streams, like work our way through from our point right now till the plans that we have in the future.
Because if the main concern is about time spent and potential money earned somewhere else, it's like, well, anyone doing any startup is obviously risking, they're putting time into something that doesn't start earning money anyway. And also, just doing this, we don't think of it most of the time as work. Sometimes it can be a bit tedious, when doing a release and you've got to do all the it's not that bad anymore as it used to be because we've improved our workflow, but it's more like, most of the time we're working on it, it's like, oh, I'm looking forward to making that new thing. It's because we're learning. Because when I started this project, I didn't know web dev. Mick did, but I didn't. So I've learned, Mick, you've also learned a lot too, but I've learned so much because I had zero knowledge at the start. I knew a bit of HTML and JavaScript, but nothing much. So I've learned a lot while working on this about APIs, databases, all these different things.
The whole structure as well.
Yeah. So it's been valuable, education to work on it. And obviously, as portfolio material, as we get more and more done on it, saying that me and one other person developed this entire thing, obviously the front end right now doesn't look that impressive. It's hard,
Yeah, the most important thing is all the systems behind it, right?
Yeah.
But can you show me something about how I would become a teacher, for example?
Let's just see this one. Let's see. Oh, that's someone else. Wait.
Because I've been lurking the release QnA, and I saw something about some kind of system that was in place for that.
So let's go to. Well, I can't really apply myself, but I can view it, right?
I think you can, to be honest. You will have to. Let me think. Yeah, if you just log into the application website, it would be fine, I think.
Did you not do the auto login thing on this website? Because when I press the sign in here button, I think the URL was just wrong for the sign in button.
I don't know. I can do that in 2 seconds, of course.
It goes to apply/identity/account login return. But then wait. Yeah, you.
Oh. Maybe it's old.
Anyway, I'm logged in now. Apply to become a teacher. I see the text. This is only because I'm an admin. Do I see? No one else sees the red box. Yeah, so people can.
Okay, so I'm a student, and I've been watching, or I've been going through the Discord server and stuff. I actually want to start helping people. Where do I start?
Are we delivering this like it's where do I start? Well, if you want to start, you then obviously have to fill in this form. I'm not going to sit here and go through this entire form. Should I just give a fake thing?
Yeah, well, sure. Basically, show them the process.
We'll just explain. Obviously, it's just like filling in a form, like any other form. The main benefit is so to an outside person, this just looks like a form, right? But we might one day, like tomorrow, decide we want to have a new role people can apply for that we just made up tomorrow. Well, we've made it so that we can actually have effectively dynamic forms. I say effectively, that's exactly what it is. So we don't have to go in, add a new table in the database, make a new model for a different kind of form for a different role. It's simply Mick built the form from the other end on the website because that's the stuff he was working on last week. I was doing the tickets thing. So as far as I'm aware from what I've seen, you essentially choose what type of input you want. You want a string input, a text or a text area input. So this is text area text. And then obviously an integer input where you can set min and max and whatever. So obviously my age, 19, it's what have I worked on, GitHub profile, so on and so forth. And then we can obviously review that. And as we add more stuff to people's profiles, like the badges for, or whatever, like how many tickets you've helped out in and successfully solved, or just how active you've been, how many, whatever you've done, right? We can reward badges for different things. As we know, unlike anything that has badges or online profiles, people like earning things. People like badges in Discord. I know some people who get like Nitro just to have like the badge, pretty much. No one actually uses the features, and that's paying. Obviously, you have to pay for this stuff. Wait. Yeah, but the thing about our teacher team is they originally were to help out in tickets when they were private, but now tickets are public, so obviously anyone can help out. We still want to separate, like make it obvious to people this is a teacher helping. The difference being a teacher is someone we have interviewed and you like know is trustworthy and they know that what they're talking about. Probably, like obviously we might.
But how do we like interview people or how do we actually know that the people that are in our teacher team actually know their stuff?
Yeah, so obviously from this form we'll review their GitHub. Now, just from doing that, sometimes we can easily see they're not gonna get hired. We've had some people.
A funny story is one person actually applied for the teacher role, and when we asked the question like send us some links to projects that you made, and then he actually linked the code that he wrote for one of our tutorials. So we were like, okay, you watched our tutorial, but that doesn't mean that you can now actually help people with their problems. So we need some kind of information that we can test, where we can actually see that you know what you're talking about, so we can actually tell our students, hey, if you want to learn something about X, then go to teacher Y.
Yeah, and the thing about the teachers is we obviously will do our best job to make sure they know what they're on about. At the end of the day, people could always find a way around it and cheat and lie. I mean, I don't see why someone would apply to be teacher if they are not going to actually want to do the job, because there's no benefits if you're not going to do the job.
True.
Because at the end, right now, there's no benefits in terms of like payment or like you'll get your badge and whatever, and you look cooler. But eventually, being a teacher will allow you to do commissions. But let's just say someone slips through the system, and then someone pays them to do a one-to-one tutoring session through us. We're still going to require them to record the entire session, whether that's through Zoom or Discord or whatever. We haven't decided how that's going to all work, but both parties should, for their best. It's like driving, using a dash cam. Because if you use a dash cam and everyone uses a dash cam, then you get all like points of view of what happened in a crash or whatever, right? So if something goes wrong in this thing and someone tries to claim a refund because the other person didn't turn up or they did a really bad job or whatever, then at least we can see the evidence, and yeah, we can kick people off the team if they abuse it. But the huge majority of people won't abuse it, but we obviously have to think about the edge cases where there'll be some people who will. Same with the GitHub profile link, that as Mick said, there was that story about the guy who just put our own code on there basically on his own GitHub, which is fine to have that there, but he should also have some other stuff as well that he's done himself. And then someone else had code for a self bot, and a self bot, if you don't use Discord, is against TOS. So we don't want people making stuff against TOS in Discord, because
no, definitely not. We don't want to be
related to, like
of programmers that do stuff that's against the rules. Like, no. That's not our focus. Our focus is teaching people and not like making money in a bad way.
What is the actual requirement? C#, XP's Unity, published games. So at the moment, it does seem like obviously most of our community is Unity focused, and then secondly Discord bot focused. But the point is, we're going to want it to be. You don't have to be good at a particular language. It can be whatever, right? You come in saying what you're good at. You talk about, these are the languages I've used the most, these are the frameworks I've used the most, these are my projects using them. We're going to add a kind of like proficiency system, because right now it's very, very basic and simple, and it used to work, and it still works, but we need a better way of determining how good someone is at something.
Instead of like one data point, we need way more data points to actually figure out. Right
now, if you're a teacher, you then can go through the languages and frameworks we support, and you just set like how good you are, basically. Which obviously we trust them, and it just is a good way to track, like, oh, you're good at that. But the problem with trusting people is people might value how good they are, might undervalue how good they are. So as we add like more articles people complete and we add quizzes and like challenges and stuff like that, we can judge how good people are. Now, yes, at the end of the day, someone can just cheat and Google online and put it in, but that's the same with anything that monitors your skill online. You can always cheat. It's hard to stop people from. So as we said, most people, the huge majority, will take it seriously because they want to learn, they want to teach. Those people who want to just mess around, then they're just, messing themselves up, right? Because why would you waste time on our website lying about how good you are to then get nothing out at the end? You're just wasting your own time. So we will take that into consideration, but obviously it's not going to be a big problem. I'm just looking
42 school enrichment is free because larger firms pay the school to prepare programmers more efficiently. That is something to consider. Could be incorporated into this in order to pay tutors. Well, 42 school is a network of schools around the world. I've actually been to the Dutch, or I've been there one day to the Dutch version of the 42 school called CodeM, and I've been heavily inspired when I went to that school, because I saw the opportunities of like getting work experience in a safe environment of it being a school, of course. So in that sense, I've been heavily inspired. Like, I was already thinking about the platform, and we were already thinking about it in the sense that it should help people and like fill the gap of the programmers that we have right now in the market. But of course, the 42 school or CodeM is like our learning platform is heavily inspired by that principle of peer-to-peer programming and actually helping each other out and all that kind of stuff. It's super cool to just experience that school and how they work and how they do things.
The thing about what was it Jason said, that you wouldn't really be up for going through a like video test or interview, whatever, for the privilege of helping people for free. And the thing is, obviously anyone can help the person for free. The thing we will be adding for teachers only, because obviously we want to filter like the teachers, is that they can do paid interviews. Now obviously not interviews, tutoring. Now the only problem with that, you would think, would be like they could just go off and DM that person and be like, hey, I'll tutor you for free in private or whatever, right? Like, not free, like for a different rate, because at the end of the day, we're going to take a cut, and the reason is obviously because we're finding them the job, right? Because
of course,
otherwise,
it's just how any platform.
Yeah, it's anything with like recruiting, because they could go in our server and just go through DMing person one by one. Hey, do you want mentoring? Do you want mentoring? Do you want mentoring? I offer it cheaper than them, kind of thing. But that is the case with a lot. It's about, we have people who want to be mentored, so we can give you those people effectively. Yeah, obviously we'll ban people who abuse it. Yeah, that's like definitely something we'll do.
Of course.
But it's one of those things where the huge majority won't abuse it because they know there's a potential to earn money here. And it can just be a side thing, right? That you don't have to make it your entire job. Maybe you've got a job and then, on one evening you want to do an hour of mentoring and make a bit of money, It doesn't matter.
And I want to address one thing about the interviews. It's not like the interview is going to take 3 hours or something crazy like that, It's just something that you can open. Just leave an application, and when we start interviewing, it's just a few quick questions to actually just get to know you a bit more, and just get some information from you that you can like prove that you know a few things. And of course it's not a job interview or anything like that.
Because there's no like
not at all. It's just some kind of barrier that like we don't want anyone to become a teacher, but we want many people to become teachers. So it's a low barrier, but there still is some kind of barrier, I'd say.
Yeah, we just want to filter the people out who definitely. Okay, one of the filters is the fact people have to apply, right? So people who are brand new, they're just not going to apply. So that already cuts out all the loads of those people. The barrier we need ourselves is the barrier of people who think they're ready but aren't. So obviously that's what the interview's for. But at the moment, it's not a video interview. Though obviously we can ask them to video interview if we need to. But that's something we'll only likely do if they end up becoming a teacher that wants to do mentoring through us, because
I'd say that's something like that we might plan on doing later on. But right now it's just a text interview, and if we need to call, or like if we feel the need that we have to call because we want to know a bit more or whatever, right? Then we would just ask in the interview. But there's such a small chance, like we haven't had that before, that we had to interview someone or like video call or whatever. No,
because the interview is faster if they're active in our server, because we can immediately see, or even on the website now, we can see like, oh, you've helped out in all these tickets. We can see all the help they've given and how active they are, and we know if they're active helping people and they've got a good GitHub or like, you know, good projects, like they've worked on some stuff, then we immediately know, at least they know about this stuff. So someone was asking earlier, do they need to be this good at C# or Unity? And we're not gonna like say like,
there are no set requirements.
No, it's like someone comes along, we've not done any PHP or something, and they're like, hey, I'm like an expert in PHP, look at all this stuff I've done, I want to help you guys. Well, good, you're now the PHP guy when people need help with that. Or you can start like perhaps working with us on creating content for PHP. People can use us. So a lot of people, including me, when I make a YouTube video, I go post about it on Reddit just to get some extra publicity. That's what a lot of people do. People can do the same on ours, except it's a more focused audience. And the thing is, to post on our website, you have to obviously go through us, which means we obviously check like that the person's legit and they're not just posting random rubbish or they're not like messing around. And that allows people to then, as a content creator, you know, if you are good at something that isn't on the website yet, like PHP, for example, and someone comes wanting to learn it, they'll see you're the only one at the moment with it there. You'll get the entire focus of that community in our server, right? You're the only one here, so you're going to get all the views. Obviously, with Unity, we'll have more people, and over time it'll grow, so then it'll be just like on YouTube, right? You actually have to produce good quality stuff to stand out. But in terms of getting people like onto the platform and posting stuff, it could be a way someone starts their channel. They might not have a YouTube channel yet, and they're deciding, I want to start on YouTube.
Well, that's something that's actually already happening right now.
Yeah, we've already had some people considering.
Someone that's been on our team for quite some time now, but he actually considered way back when we first got this idea of like articles and stuff. He already told me that he was up for it. And now we've got the website like okay-ish to get other people to do it as well. He actually is starting to make his YouTube channel right now to start posting content to our platform like this week or maybe next week.
Yeah, so obviously on our website it's like text and images like and stuff. And you can embed the YouTube videos. So as someone who's making a YouTube channel, when you release your video, you can then write up a text article to go with it, because a lot of people do prefer text articles, and regardless of which you prefer, having both, you know, is a good idea. So if people find them through our website, they see there's their YouTube video, it's embedded, and even embedded videos have ads and they register views to the video. It's not like they're missing out, it's still the same. And then they'll obviously have the text article for people who want to read that, and it's just more publicity for them. And as I said, if they're like the first onto a certain language or framework and whatever, then at least for the start, they're going to get all the traction. And it also means right now we've got a huge community of C#, Unity, and some Discord bot people. By having people like this come on and start teaching stuff we don't already offer ourselves means that now they've got more things they can start learning. Like, oh, someone just added a PHP thing. I've always considered trying PHP. Let's have a go, you know? Oh, this guy's got a YouTube channel, so it's like, you know, they can get more traction, and we get more content, and it's just kind of like a self-fulfilling thing. Yeah. Are there any other questions right now?
I think we can maybe show a bit more from the student portal.
Yeah. So like in a ticket, right?
For example.
So yeah, someone had a problem with one of the things about. I mean, obviously he didn't give like a great title for it, but you know that's what it is. And the actual page needs to be improved. We've got all the information here. We just need to improve the layout. But effectively, this is that ticket.
Can you show us or?
Huh?
Is my screen frozen?
Well, I'm not showing in Discord, but do you want me to show in Discord as well, so you can see?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But then you see live if I do it in Discord, so it's better. All right. So, but let me put YouTube back on my screen so I can see the chat. Yeah. So they made their ticket and the description. So this is related to the C# Discord bot stuff, asking basically like, how can I give XP or whatever to the member while they're typing messages like every 25 messages gives me that much money. So down here we've got like solutions. So I made a solution first actually, but the approved one show up at the top, and my solution was this. And then if I click load replies, this is his reply saying that the thing I suggested he's already done. He doesn't know how to use this though. Can I help him out? But before I managed to help him out on the same day, he actually figured it out and made his own solution and then approved it, so that now when people come here, they see, here's the question, here's his proved the solution, it's done, it's solved. So that's kind of the idea. Now, right now, if you look at this table, you don't know it's solved until you click on it. So the user experience obviously needs to be improved, especially when we add the search, so we don't just start by displaying loads of things. We could display perhaps the top 10 newest tickets or something, you know, something like that. And then we have a search bar to search throughout the entire tickets. And obviously, like when we made our first ticket, apparently there's I should check the logs there. No, I think it's fine. We obviously need to find some little things, like sometimes the page doesn't load, but if we refresh then it loads. It's important, but we know about it already, so we will get around to it. So when we made the first ticket to test on the live thing, how do I create a ticket? I'd like to use a new ticket system, but I'm not quite sure how to create a ticket. Can anyone help? Oh, look, it's Mick. This is how you make a ticket. Thanks for the help, and I approved his solution. I'm not logged in, so you don't see the button that lets me approve or like. So if you approve something, you can still like unapprove it, right? You can say like, "Oh, this isn't the solution," because maybe after trying it, you realize it didn't actually solve your problem. So you're not locked into the one that you chose. And even then, there's actually you can select multiple solutions as approved. So if there are there's not always one answer to a problem. Someone might give a good solution, they mark it, but then someone else comes along later and adds an even better solution, so they can both be marked as solutions.
Yep.
So yeah, you go to here, and then why don't I see a thing to make a new ticket is the question.
What?
Oh, I'm not logged in. Yeah, so we need to add the thing that basically says when you're not logged in, click here to log in to make a ticket. Yeah, it's the whole user experience thing is what we're missing. In terms of actual features, it's all there. It just doesn't feel right to use. So that is something we're going to focus on. The problem is right now, as we've said before, there's two of us and we need money, and we've said like we're not putting in 100% of our time into this to make money in the short term, like right now, because it's not going to. Because I mean, in the past we had products, but products didn't really work because we have students that want to learn programming. They don't want to just buy pre-made projects, really. You know, when you can,
even though it can help them a lot.
It can.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's always GitHub, but the problem with GitHub is it's not. People don't put stuff on there most of the time designed ready to teach someone who's new. You know, the better learning resources would be if it was a pre-built project, it'd be entirely explained. You'd probably have a document with the project explaining it. Maybe even the plan you made when you were working on that project. Imagine it's a simple game, right? You might have your game plan document with it. You would have the game perhaps commented. Now, I don't always comment my code when I'm working on it on my own, and people always debate, you know, how much commenting is too much, how much, you know, some people say don't comment at all, some say comment like every method, you know, no one can really come to an agreement on that, so I'm not going to sit here and say this way's the best because blah, 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 you know, everyone thinks different things. I'm about to start your mirror tutorials. How does the profiler work in multiplayer games? Well, the profiler in Unity is purely, as far as I'm aware, for just like your FPS and how much different things take to render and execute, basically. So you can look at your own scripts you've written and how long each function call takes. You can look at like how long it took to render that frame. As for multiplayer, I mean, whichever one you're profiling is the one that it's doing it on, right? So if you're profiling your client, that's your own FPS and stuff. If you're on about profiling like network speed and latency, I assume that's something built into Mirror you can check. Like you can get what like ping you've got, if that's what you're on about, like your connection to the server. I think you're best either looking on the Mirror docs or asking them in their Discord server, because I haven't looked into that yet. But I know there is definitely a way to like check your ping and display it on the UI or something, because I think I've seen it like in their server. Someone mentioned it at some point. Oh, Jason's saying something. I see what you're going for, but again, how is it different from the likes of this? Okay, I'm just gonna wait.
Give me 1 minute.
Okay. What to talk about while Nick's gone, and I'm waiting for the question in the chat. Are there any other questions I miss? I don't think so. Ambient Vibe said, I don't touch GitHub, but made a solid plenty of apps. Oh, one sec. There seems to be an insane delay in responses. Are you viewing the comments on YouTube stream or in something like Streamlabs? I'm viewing it in YouTube. What's the delay? It's on low latency as opposed to ultra low. I don't know how low is. Explain your Discord if you have nothing. The rules are boring to read. Well, yeah, everyone's got to write the rules for their server. If I'm being honest, I don't read the rules for servers because most rules are the same. It's usually, you know, don't talk about religion and don't be racist and don't troll and that kind of stuff. So, applications aren't live yet? Question mark. Well, I just like viewed them as a user that wasn't logged in, so you should be able to see the applications. If you want to apply to be a teacher, it should work. It's just apply.dapperdino.co.uk and then the teacher. If I go to an incognito tab, apply.dapperdino, teacher, log in. So that's the thing. Right now, Mick has got the wrong URL set, so we can fix that like after the stream, or you can even do it now when he gets back to fix the URL. But if you just press the actual sign in button, it'll work, and then sign in, you can do it. If you're not already signed in, that is. So is the ticket system working right now? Yeah, the ticket system is working. So I'm not logged in yet again. If I just press login, I am logged in, but I logged into the other portal. So when you change portals, you just press login, it signs in for you. That's something that should be done by default, but it's just more of this user experience stuff that we definitely need to do. But right now, as we said, we're putting the website, we're still working on it, but we're putting it on a bit of a hold whilst we focus on other ways to make money so we can obviously support ourselves while we then work on this in our own time. I signed in, filled out the form and hit save. So the reason we have save rather than like send the form is because we want people to be able to modify their information in case once you've sent it, you might, change something before then. So by saving it, it should, we should have received it. So, I mean, I can go check for you if I put this on my other monitor, because I don't know if I want to show this on the screen. If I go to the apply website and go to applications. I've got too many tabs open. I've still got Unity, like, oh, what did I just close? Control-Shift-T. Yeah, I closed the live stream thing, but it should still be streaming. I don't think I broke the stream, did I? No, it's still going. Okay, good. There's too many questions right now. So get Mick when he gets back to look at the form, because I'm gonna probably just move on. Yeah, so Mr. Holiday, so is the ticket system working? Yeah, the ticket system is working. So you see here now that I'm signed in, you can create a ticket, you can look at your own tickets. Now the reason I see so many of these old random junk ones is because we have had the ticket system for a long time, so those are the old tickets that don't use the new system. But for anyone making a new ticket now, just if I was to create a ticket, actually wait, I made one the other day, so this is my newest one. Obviously, newest should probably not be at the bottom, but regardless. How do I create a ticket? View, I can go view it, and it's got the problem where I need to refresh, which we obviously... Do you know what that is, Mick? Why sometimes refreshing fixes the page? I think
no, not yet.
We just need to put true on the navigate to, or to reload.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, we can fix that.
Yeah.
But yes, if you make a ticket, you can view your own. Obviously, this is where you create it. You just put what you need help with. So the title, description, and then select the language and framework. The language and framework part we're going to change when we do this proficiency thing where we can like grade, you know, how good you are on a certain language and framework. Right now we simply just have two like tables, or we have one table actually for proficiencies, where it's either a language or a framework. But yeah, we need it to be more. Yeah.
So a quick thing. Shark Jets, I signed in, filled out the form, I hit save, but nothing happens. Yeah, I know. We don't have feedback whenever you posted the form. But if you go to...
Yeah, he says when you refresh
at the
the
top,
page...
there's in the application website, at the top there's menu item, I think it's applications. Your application should be there. And if it's not, I'm gonna check it right now.
Where do we view their applications? No.
/recruiter/applications.
Oh, we've got a URL bar for
that. No, because of the
nav
menu.
Yeah. Okay, that's why it didn't work when I just went to it. Said /recruiter/applications. No.
You can show it on stream.
Yeah, but what's the URL?
/recruiter/applications/open.
There we go. Shark Jets. He's okay if I show this on stream.
You should ask Shark Jets.
Yeah, I'll wait. Is there anything sensitive on there? But we can just show what it looks like at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep on my monitor just for now until
we get a confirmation.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? Because obviously creating a ticket, I don't need to create one right now. There's no point. I've already, like, you just fill this in, press create, and then you see it on. It's now on open tickets, and it's on your tickets.
We can show it.
Well, I've already, but then we can't close the one. He's saying we can show his thing. Is that what you're in about?
Yeah.
All right. View. Hopefully it works because Mick made this. Yeah.
Wait.
What I mean by that is,
yeah.
what I mean by that is, I'm assuming it's going to work, and it does. It works. Okay. So become a teacher now. Yeah. Okay. You haven't changed the titles? Become a teacher. It's probably like why.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We'll just write everything off as we need to fix user experience. Because one thing we don't have time for right now is like going through everything and fixing text.
This is also in the dynamic form component, so it's fine.
Oh, we can just change it like right now if we want to. Without having to push a new build. But anyway, I love teaching, so I learn. I've been fresh on C# for 20 years. I became a Unity certified programmer in 2019 and have been using Unity for over a year. I'm mainly a web developer, been making websites since 1996. I have a YouTube channel. I mean, I could check your channel out, but I use it to intro to web.
And this is exactly the type of application that we like to see.
Yeah, this is a good application. Because
yeah. Just some information about yourself, some information about previous work you did, some links that we can verify. Thanks, great.
Yeah, we can obviously see this stuff.
Yeah, we'll discuss it after stream, but
yeah. See, like that's the thing we were saying to Jason. It doesn't have to be something that takes hours. Like we just skim read this. We can see some links. it's not much for the person to do after they've written a bit of text for it, and we accept, reject, or interview, and then after interviewing we can then accept or reject. So if we just read it, I mean it's rare we do this, but if we read it and we're like, this person's amazing, we don't even want to check anything. It's rare, but we have the option to do it. We can just press this, and by pressing interview, it then starts a chat with the person. Obviously we chat with them in text on here, and then once we're done, we then accept or reject. So we'll do this later with SharkJets, or one of us will anyway. But yeah, that is a good application, as opposed to, I mean, the ones we've got so far haven't been that bad either, have they? We've had a few, but the reason there's only one on that list is because all the applications in the past are, well, in the past, they're really old applications. Oh, why has Jason's message been hid?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've got it.
Oh, because it had a link in it or something? Oh, you put YouTube com for because I think if you put an actual URL like with .com, it breaks, or like YouTube doesn't let non-moderators send links or something.
No, but still, like it's smart enough that it's a link, so
yeah.
But it's fine. So we've got these tickets. Can we show anything about the learning, or do you think that's better for another day when
well, because obviously we haven't made any articles yet, we've only got, we can show the images you sent me while working on it on the test database, so that like
yeah maybe
obviously before I show anything, maybe.
Or we could just start running the test. I think that's better.
No, I can't like starting everything up and making like
it's two things.
We'll probably end up showing some. We'll just show a key or something by accident and get annoyed. You've sent me some good images of it, so this is one of them. I'm gonna go try find the others. Maybe you sent me. Did you send me others?
Oh, thanks.
I'm scrolling.
I don't know.
I'm sure you did.
There's also a few things in Dapper Dino.
Right, there's this one, and there's like this one. Okay, these three will be enough, I think. Alright, let's bring the YouTube chat back. So it's going to be like this. Obviously, the image wouldn't be this. This is one of the template images. But
of course,
you can obviously see the date, comments on it, who made it, the language. This is just a part of the template, like default stuff. But so this will be the learning articles, the learning paths. So effectively, just like we have the role teacher, we'll have one for like content creator, and a content creator is someone who can put stuff on our website, like articles, right? Now, whenever they make an article, we still have to review it, because obviously we don't want them putting inappropriate images or text or whatever. We still need to review it.
Of course. And
articles are just like separate things on their own. So you could just, as a content creator, go publish an article. Just it's like embedded. It's embedded your YouTube video, and then like a write up about it in like text format, so that people can follow along in a text one if they want. You know, just a better way to display it. And then obviously you can put an image, or maybe your thumbnail, or whatever you want to put there. This actual like design, like how it looks on the page, is something that will be improved. The point is we've got it now, so as an internal team member you can make an article, and by making multiple articles you can then make a path, and a path is like a playlist. The difference being you can obviously with that playlist put articles in them, and then you can go from article to article. So if I upload 20 different articles about, you know, getting into C#, and each one's covering different things like variables, classes, whatever, I can then make the path being intro to C#, and then add all those articles in order. And with an article you can mark it as complete, and then from that you can view paths and see how complete you've done those paths. So we can then view on your profile like, hey, you've completed all these paths. At the moment, the way to complete an article is just pressing a button to say you've done it. Obviously, further down the line, we'll add, as we said, like quizzes and tests and things, you know, just to prove that you've paid attention, or at least that you know the stuff.
Yeah.
But for now, obviously, it's just a case of marking your own progress. That's the entire point. And when at the moment, we only have like C# stuff, but as we add more different languages and frameworks, you can then browse the different articles for what you want to do. And one day you might decide, you know, I want to start looking at what content they have in PHP or in JavaScript or whatever. Then obviously you can go look for that, and we can categorize stuff in difficulty so that based on your proficiency, we can recommend content. We're not going to hide content, right? Even if you're an absolute beginner, you can still go find the really advanced stuff if you go looking for it.
Of course.
But we're not going to shove it in your face. We're going to, advertise like the stuff that makes sense to you. Oh, you're a beginner. Here's some beginner stuff, or maybe something that's one step higher in case you want to push yourself and try that. And maybe once they complete that stuff,
you can.
Once they complete that more advanced stuff, we might, obviously that'll increase their like proficiency score in that language/framework, and then the recommendations will update according to that, so we can balance based on what they do and how good they do it and stuff. Go on. I'm going to read the chat now.
So you start out with the second image tab, right? That's the first thing that you So you start out with just a filter for the language.
This is how it is right now, keep in mind.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
Of course, we can improve over time, but right now it's just a filter for the language, and then everything underneath it will change based on the thing you selected. So if you select nothing, then you see all the learning paths. If you select C#, then you can only see you can only view the learning paths that are about C#, and so on and so on. So you start out with these things, then you click on one of them, and then you go to the first image tab.
Yes.
And this is explaining a bit about the learning path itself. So the title of the learning path at the top, and then some description, and then all the articles inside this learning path. So there's like, just like the name pretty much already says it, right? A learning path is just from this point to the next point, and then everything in between are the articles, really. How are you finding developing the website in Blazor? I thought it was still in preview.
Came out in preview in September, actually.
Yeah,
it came out. It came out of preview the same day Unite was on, right?
Yeah.
Unite, whatever Unite 2019 day was. It's like September 20 something, if I remember correctly. Maybe 22nd.
I don't know.
That's when it came out of preview, and when it came out of preview, we still had. So we started using it in preview to like learn it, I guess. Then when it came out of preview is when we like started properly using it, and at the start we had some slight problems of like features that we assumed would be in that weren't in, to do with like generics and some certain things with components, but within the like next coming weeks from then they'd implemented it because of like high request. And in terms of bugs, we've not really had any bugs with the framework itself. There's certain little things like, when we go to a page, if we hit refresh, it fixes it. So that's clearly not our problem because, the page works if you refresh. There's just some little nuances we haven't got used to when you change pages in certain cases. The way you change the page is it's navigation manager.navigate to, and you put in the URL. But there's a bool afterwards, which is true or false for force reload. So certain times you've got to force reload for it to do it. So that reload that I did manually earlier can be automated. I'm not sure if that's a bug as to why like we even need to reload. But yeah, obviously it's still being developed and it's relatively new, but because it's out of preview, we haven't had problems with like stability or bugs. We thought we did, but in the end it was us. Like we had that problem once with what we thought was a memory leak, but actually we were imagining it. And what else?
We were imagining it. No. It was the profiler being weird.
Yeah, the profiler was lying to us effectively. Have to give it another look. Curious to see how it competes. Well, Mick can probably answer that better because obviously you used to do ASP.NET stuff.
Yeah, I think the mean/mern stack are great, but it's JavaScript, of course. So I'd say I wouldn't say Blazor is better than the mean stack or mern stack. I don't think you can say anything like that because it's two different languages. So, but I can say that I definitely prefer Blazor over pretty much any JavaScript framework, to be honest. I tried Angular, React, Vue.js, but none of them were like quite on my level in the sense that I've been doing a lot of C# and backend development and not so much front end. So for me it was like a really simple and straightforward change from ASP.NET MVC to Blazor instead of MVC/API based with mean or mern or whatever.
You see the next question?
Does it do client-side component refresh? That was the one reason I switched to Angular over ASP.NET and raised the syntax. What do you mean? Does it do client-side? Right now, it's server-side is out of preview and client-side is in preview.
But it's apparently coming out preview in May, which is next month. So yeah, but it's
really next month already.
Yeah, we're at the end of April now.
Oh yeah, of course. Because I mean, I didn't know that it was there already. As in, can you hot swap parts of the page data without refreshing the entire page on the server side? No, you can't. There's no way of doing that right now. I hear sounds that they are working on something like that, but for right now, can refresh with page. No. Oh, if you mean that, then yes, you can. You can definitely just do an API call or AJAX call and then act accordingly, change components and all that kind of stuff. So inside the application, yeah, you can switch components, but there's not a hot refresh or anything while working on the website.
Oh, you were thinking like if you make a change to your code while running and then just have it update. No, that's not yet.
No, that's not a feature yet.
I swear they've shown it off and like shown that it works, and then we just tried and it doesn't. I don't know if we're doing it wrong or whether that was a preview feature, but
no. He was actually not debugging his project at the time.
Oh, okay.
And that's when it works. But if you are debugging and actually coding it, then it doesn't work.
But
without
restarting. Was Jason asking like if you update something in one component, it doesn't update the rest of the page? Or is that something different you're asking?
Yeah, no. That's exactly what he meant. Like to change something in a component and then render some other component or.
It only updates the render tree like down from that parent, from that thing. It updates all the children.
In server side, because in server side it actually just uses a signal connection that is always there, like from client to server, and then the server side actually tries to render the HTML and all that kind of stuff, and then all it does is it sends a diff from like the current state of the HTML on the client to the next state, like created by the server. And it just does a diff on those two things and then sends back the difference, so it can actually from the old HTML go to the new HTML. Client side it will work differently, of course, because it has to do everything on the client instead of on the server. But yeah,
there's also a method to you can call status changed, which manually updates the component it's in and all the children components. And that's sometimes something you have to call when I think like if you add an element to a list, it's not aware of that change, or it is sometimes. I can't remember what is this.
I don't know how it exactly works, but I think if
there's certain actions,
something about like if the list lives in the child component, then but it should actually update the parent component, then the parent component isn't aware of that, so you have to make the parent component aware of that. But
but these little problems like solved really quickly, and usually not really problems, it's more of just something you don't think about. But yeah, like most changes you do are automatically detected. Like if you're rendering an int in some text and that int changes, it'll just update for you, like that one thing. It won't update anything above it, just itself and anything below. So it's just like hierarchical. Whatever word makes most sense there. That sounds right. You can sort of do it by using editor brackets to refresh for you as long as you type. If you want live debugging refresh stuff, though, obviously not I don't know. You might understand what he's saying more.
Yeah, no. In ASP not core MVC, you do have to live refresh and all that kind of stuff. It's just probably because the dev tools aren't as sophisticated yet. And I get it. There are workarounds for it that
Yeah.
kind of simulate the process, but like I said, the dev tools aren't ready for it yet. So.
The only real problem we've ever had was with this template, because this template is a normal HTML template, and the JavaScript that drives a lot of the moving things and clicky things, that JavaScript is not really. It didn't work with how Blazor loads.
No, because
pages.
For the ones that know JavaScript, it actually did a document on load, but because it has to it actually renders it after the fact, because of the div being generated on the server, and the HTML isn't there yet, it did all kinds of things on elements that didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So it just didn't work.
All the startup.
So we had to rewrite a bit of it and actually make it easy to call it from C# to JavaScript.
It's actually better the way we did it in the end, because originally it's on start, just go grab all the things and link up the callbacks for when you click this, make this happen. And all we had to change really was to, in Blazor, do a JS interop, which is where C# code then calls JavaScript, or you can do it the other way around too, because we have it so that when you scroll to the bottom of the page, we want to perhaps load more messages. So we use that that JavaScript event to call a C# method to load more messages. So it is quite easy to do those things. So pretty much anything that doesn't exist in Blazor, you can just use the JavaScript and call the Blazor stuff. So
yeah,
in terms of missing features, technically, yeah, there are missing features, but you can still use them.
Yeah.
You just have to write a tiny bit of extra code for it. And then eventually those features will be included, and then you just don't have to do that extra code anymore. And we've only, as we said, ever had that problem with, page loading is not built into Blazor, so you just use the JavaScript thing to do it. It's a one-line thing.
Well, there is, of course, the on after render and also the on initialized, but
yeah. So there's
it's just different from the life cycle of JavaScript.
Yeah, because obviously the uninitialized is obviously the Unity's start method, effectively. Uninitialized is literally uninitialized, right? It's when so at the start there's uninitialized and on after render. But the thing is, if you, for example, do something if you add to a list in uninitialized, the list, as far as I'm aware, is updated visually on the screen. If you add something to the list in on after render, it doesn't, because this is literally after the render. So you just use the callbacks accordingly. If you've got some event you listen to and you need to unsubscribe, there's dispose method, which gets called when you leave the page or when the component stops existing. So obviously all the callbacks are relative to the thing you're coding in, because at the end of the day, your page is just a component at the end, really. And then in your page you have more components, and they have components, and it's all just components, and you just have to build up the tree and register callbacks, pass parameters through, and it's just quite simple. Because a parameter in a page can be the URL, for example. You can read an ID from the end of the URL, or you can even have multiple URL parameters if you want, because we use that in our learning paths. Because for a learning path an article can be on its own, just an article, or it can be in a path to the point where you can then go to the next or the previous article in that path, like a playlist. So we obviously have the ID for the article and the ID for the path it's in, so that if you're on path 10, article 20, and then you press next, it just goes and grabs the next article in that path and takes you there. So obviously that's how every place does the same thing. It's how YouTube playlists work. You see a video ID and then a playlist ID in the same URL. So yeah, anything we've had to do, we haven't really had problems damn, I wish we weren't using Blazor. It's been good, and obviously it's going to get better. One of the main benefits as well is, I know obviously there's other C# development like the ASP.NET stuff, but we also have our Discord bot in C#, shared code base, API. We make a ticket. We just send the model, the same shared model from a shared class library. When we eventually make the app using Xamarin, whatever they're calling it, like Blazor mobile bindings. Once that's out of preview, we can then make the app in that. So we're not in a rush to make the app. But when we do, well, why not have a completely shared code base? Same API calls as our Discord bot, just we get the information in a different way, like in a form. And then we send that off. And it's just one big shared code base, so we fix stuff in one place and it fixes it everywhere.
Yeah, and because the paradigm is the same, it's way easier for us to actually make the mobile application as well. Because we just have to learn, instead of HTML, we have to learn like the Xamarin syntax, but
it's very similar as well. And
it's just XML-like.
The thing is, with the shared code base, we used to have our Discord bot in JavaScript and then TypeScript, which is effectively the same, but obviously it's not the same. Don't crucify me for saying that. But the point is, it's very similar. And well, yeah, because TypeScript is just JavaScript syntax with a bit extra.
Of course.
But we had our models in C# for the database and the API, but we also had to have duplicated models over in our other project for the Discord bot in different language. And then we have to make sure that if we ever add an extra property or whatever to the database model, we have to then go add it to the
JavaScript model
one,
and all that,
and make sure it's all updated in the bot too. But it's really nice having the shared class libraries all in C# and just works. It just works.
Yeah, it helped us out a lot.
Yeah, I think we've definitely made the right decision in framework picking and like doing everything and whatever.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say one more thing about the image that's on your screen right now.
The image itself? Oh, the library we've got for it, or like the like how we store images? Oh, we're gonna talk about something.
No. Just I mean the image that you're actually looking at in the browser. So on the right side, you've got the categories and the popular tags, right?
Yep.
What did we do to them?
We've got the suggestions and tickets now.
Yeah. So you can actually start making a suggestion about the article. So for example, you might find some stuff in the article a bit weird, or maybe you want to tell us like I think this should be this article should be split up into 2 articles and all that kind of stuff. Or if you just need help with your with this article, so you're trying to learn something but just can't figure out this little thing, then we can just if you just create a ticket, we can help you out. In this case, because it's from our learning items, it's actually only available to our internal team. We got our reasons for that, but I think the most important thing is that like you can actually start making suggestions about something now, instead of always being a generic suggestion about whatever.
Yeah, so it allows us to render the extra data we need. So we just have a table for all our suggestions, and if someone's suggestion was made in the page for a an article, then we can immediately see, without them having to tell us themselves, what article it's about, and then we can render like, this is about this article, and we can say the name of the article. We can even just show the article in the page if we wanted to. It depends what we want and what makes sense. But yeah, as you see, I put up on the screen the actual sidebar for the... Oh, I'm zoomed in too much now, but yeah, like instead of this stuff with categories and popular tags, because those are part of the template, we might reuse these exact ones, but for now, inside this area, we have what's called a render fragment, which is a way of saying just some HTML. Like you can put anything there. You can put components, normal HTML, whatever. So in this area, we've replaced from the template these tags and these like this not drop down, but like this row thing, to now just have a form with a submit button saying, what is your suggestion? And yeah, you just press submit, and then we, under the hood, because it's on a suggestion, because it's on a page about an article, we set the article ID, and then when you go to the suggestions table, it's like, go grab the suggestion with this ID, the article with this ID, and render some extra data for it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. And now the way we've designed it is it's really easy for us to just decide one day, hey, we now need suggestions about something else. We just need to make a new model with the extra data about that thing. So I don't know if it's a suggestion about a ticket.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know why
from now on, it's actually only an addition to what we already have instead of changing. Yeah.
Because we used to do something really stupid. No blaming here. We with our forms, which are now really good thanks to Mick, with the dynamic forms. We used to be like, okay, we want people to apply for teacher, so we made a teacher form model with all the things a teacher we want to ask them about, and then we decided, oh, we also want to recruit people for these two other roles, and then we put the different things for those roles. A lot of them were overlapping, but regardless. And then we had code where it was like casting the form to all the different form types and doing stuff based on that, which was bad. Bad idea. And it's not even the casting was the problem, because even if we did it otherwise, we'd still need like an interface, but then the different models, and it would just never work properly. So
I think we'd have to spend like
so much time. It wouldn't work. Like
so at least 5 hours per new role, and now it's
we'd have to go through code in our website and in the Discord bot saying like, if it's this form, do this role. If it's this form, do this role. If it's this one, so now we have it where the forms are dynamic, and there's on top of dynamic forms there are application forms or dynamic application forms, and with that, there's some extra data about like what roles you get when you've been accepted for this. So now we make a form, we say we want a new application form for teacher. It gives you the teacher role. So now we just say, all right, we want to ask them this, and this, and these are strings and these are ints or whatever, like for the age. Then we collect that data and we just display it. So then we tomorrow might decide we're going to hire for this new role, content creator. That'll give them the content creator role. So we just ask some questions and say it gives them the content creator role, and it's done. So everything works perfectly with that. If we want someone in the server to apply through the Discord bot, when they do $apply, we can do an API call to go grab all the application forms that they can do and just tell them these are the ones you can do $apply teacher. If you want to apply for teacher, then we can dynamically make the bot ask them for whatever the form has on it. Without having to go through and hard code everything individually like we used to, and it was horrible. Yeah, so anything that we can make dynamic like that, and anything you can do where when you want to do something new, you just add the new thing without having to go back and break all the old stuff, that's always good. That's definitely the way you want to head, because it's easy to fall into the other trap if you don't think about it too much, or if you rush. Be like, oh, it's okay, we're never going to have more than 3 roles, but what about this 4th role? Oh no. What about this 10th role? Oh no. Go look at the code. If this casted the 10 different things. Don't want that. You don't want your code complexity to increase because of adding more content. It's like my problem with enums in like Unity. Like, yeah, there are cases where enums. The thing with an enum is, if you make an enum, you're gonna have to hard code it somewhere. Otherwise, there's no point having an enum. Like, you'll have somewhere where you're checking, is this enum value equal to something else? The benefit with like the scriptable object way is, oh, I need a new damage type, I need a new enemy data, whatever. You just make a new scriptable object instance and set the data, and it works as like an enum with more data. There are still obviously uses of enums, because imagine, like, I don't know, you had an enum for direction. Well, there's only 4 directions, or maybe you want to go like north, northeast, east, southeast, south. But at the end of the day, there's only going to be a limited number of those. When in your game, when you're working on new content, you don't know how much content you're going to want. In the future, we don't know how many application forms we're going to have. Maybe we'll never have more than 5. Maybe we'll have 50. You never know. 50 is probably a bit of a push, but still, we want to be ready, It's been very interesting. I come from a social science philosophy background, and everything around CS and programming is all very new and hard to me. How did you find our channel, I'm wondering? Or is it because you're wanting to get into programming and software development and stuff? Yeah, because this stream, it's not been like a planned stream. I mean, most people don't plan streams. It's just Q&A, talking about stuff. At the start, it was about game dev because people wanted it. Then we talked about the platform, and now we discussed a lot about design and just anything really, and people.
Yeah, like we kind of explained a bit about our way through this project. I'd say.
Yeah, and some of our future plans and things. Like, we are aware of bugs in our website. Like, we're not going to
Oh,
pretend,
yeah.
oh, we've never seen that before. It's just that, like, if we then put all those on the top of our priority list, we never get anything new done. And yeah, at the end of the day, having a working website is better than having a broken website. But we want to just do some other stuff, which we're working on, to make some money so then we can support ourselves in working on this. And yeah, it's about the free time thing, because I think Jason said something earlier about anything you're doing like this in your free time you shouldn't think of as free time. I can't remember exactly what you said. I don't want to misquote, but I could scroll up and
it's
find
kind
it.
of like the
We think of it as, like, this is fun to us. Obviously, I don't want to work on this 24 hours a day. I would get bored.
Of course.
Because, want to go
Anyone would.
play games and do other things and work on Unity projects. I don't just want to do game dev. I don't just want to do web. I prefer doing game dev, but I like putting in a few hours a day working on the website if that's what we're doing. I don't think of it as like tedious thing that I need to be paid for at the moment, because I've got all this other stuff I'm doing, and because I only finished school last year, and that's the thing, because of our current situation in the world, all my friends who've gone off to uni are now back at home. A lot of them are either getting really poor education online because doing online teaching certain subjects just doesn't work, like through Zoom and whatever people are doing. Shush. And then
is that a spoil of our 10-year plan?
10-year plan. I'd say longer than 10 years, but anyway. What was I saying now? You've put me off track. The point is, like, these people who've gone off to uni have basically missed their first year because they've had less than half a year's education, and then everything's been screwed up. And the thing is, I've obviously there's always the debate of, is it better to have a degree or to have lots of good practice and experience? And some people go off and do apprenticeships and get jobs and don't go to uni. And it also depends on what country you're from. Some countries it's free and it's like the obvious choice and just do it. It's really good. But I think I've made the right choice in what I've done, and I'm not in a rush to make money immediately because obviously I just left school. I'm staying at home for now for a bit. I'm not being charged that much, so I can cover that. I'm not in a situation where, like, if I was working on the website full time, we need to start making money next week to like through our own website to, like, for me to live or anything. I'm in quite a fortunate situation where I can work on all the other stuff, do this as well, and the chance of it making money is there. But that's the thing, we don't want to do the problem of, all right, everything's now paid and premium and you just can't do anything unless you pay.
Our main goal isn't make a ton of money.
No, we can make money through other things as well. Like,
yeah.
We're not going to be like, oh, by the way, guys, now today tickets is paid.
Oh, no.
No. We thought in the past of things like, oh, maybe give Patreons higher priority in tickets, but that doesn't really work now that it's public anyway.
No.
We never want to block something off completely like that, because at the end of the day, one of the things that makes the Discord server great and like people active, if we made the Discord server like paid entry, it just would be so boring, and like there'd be like no one there. I mean, there'd be some people there because, like, if I said, "Oh,
of course," but it's like not what we
don't want
envision
that,
our
no.
Discord server to be.
No, it's better to keep us like certain like games have the whole, like, I don't know, League of Legends is completely free, but they make so much money because of cosmetics. It's like an optional addition. We want to think of things like that. Like in the future, we'll add maybe a membership where memberships get you some extra additions, but it's not going to be like this entire thing is blocked off unless you're a member.
No.
So
no, for example, one of the things, learning should pretty much always be free.
Yeah, because right now it's free and it's private. If you've not, like, you need an account. That's just because of how we designed it, thinking that would make sense. But now we're like, why don't we just make it public so anyone can look at our articles? It'll get more traction and just be better in general. So as of our next update, which isn't out yet, learning will be public to someone who hasn't got an account. You can just go like onto learning and use the articles. But then if you want to, for example, track your progress, you obviously need an account because we need to track your progress.
Of course.
Like it wouldn't work otherwise.
No.
Store it as like cookies in your browser. I don't know.
No thanks.
No. So we obviously will have, there'll be benefits of having an account as opposed to not. There'll be benefits of having a membership as opposed to not. But we don't want it to be like, damn, I'm jealous of that guy who's paying a membership because they get access to the ticket system and I don't.
No, we like we said, our main goal is to help our students. Our main goal isn't like to make tons of money. if we at some point do, then sure, that's great. But I mean, that's not our goal for this platform. Our goal for this platform is to fix a problem, and the problem is the lack of programmers. How are we gonna do it? Well, there's millions of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, if we can just like, I've had so many comments, I'm sure most content creators do, about like how we've helped people get into programming, get into game dev, get into web dev, that they wouldn't have otherwise, and it makes you feel good, like that person has now done something they wouldn't have done otherwise that they wanted to do.
Yeah, like someone from the Discord server a few weeks ago said, or asked me and told me like, hey man, it's me. We haven't talked in like so long, and you helped me out like a year ago or something. It got me into programming and actually helped me out a lot. And like, I've got this job now, and I'm working for this company, and all that kind of stuff. And like that's what we're doing it for, right? Just these great experiences that people get just by enabling them to actually learn at their own pace and actually help them instead of, oh no, you're stupid because you don't know this. No, of course. I mean, when we started, like we didn't know anything as well. So yeah,
and I'll see
just
people
help each other out instead of being.
Yeah, because like right now, so like the ways we're trying to make money, Mick is working on well, I mean, I don't know what state it's in right now. Is it ready? I mean, it's
Dappercoding.co.uk.
Yeah,
but I feel like you can show it, but there's just a few things.
There's like a tiny bit of like lore and some text, but basically, we're gonna Mick's gonna be making.
You can,
yeah, I'll get it. I've been walking around my room. I find it easier when I'm just chatting. And,
okay.
Like just to walk around my room. Dappercoding.co.uk, because now we've got the actual URL. So when this loads, I've got my webcam over my browser. I can't see. Is it loading? Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. Now this is a WordPress website because we wanted this. This is a very like static website in the sense that we don't have any fancy ticket system or anything that we need to spend time developing. It's pretty much just
no customs.
It's just to advertise the service, which will be making websites. And obviously, by doing this, we're not making any of our website, like our main website, actually be locked off to premium, paying users or anything. So this is on the side, and then I'm working on a Udemy course, which should be coming out Sunday or Monday. Probably Monday, just to make sure it's actually good enough. And I don't want to rush it out on Sunday.
It's gonna come out somewhere next week.
Yeah, early next week, definitely. Probably Monday, but that's not a guarantee. Because obviously I've not gone through the process of publishing on Udemy before, so I don't know. Maybe there's even a time after you publish before it can even be seen publicly. I'm not sure how it works, so that's something just to experience for the first time, I guess. And the thing about that is I'm not sacrificing my YouTube content to do this. The time that I'm now putting into making this Udemy course was time I would be putting into our website, which is fine because, as we said, we can go back to working on the website effectively full time once we've got the money for it. So this Udemy course is just extra to the YouTube. I'm still going to do 5 things a week because usually it's 5 videos, but now it's like 4 videos and a stream a week. So there's still going to be something every day on the channel. I've got the time for it as well as doing all the other stuff, especially now quarantine, I'm not going anywhere anyway. So there's quite a few questions. It's okay. I've been learning Unity and your channel's got really great tutorials. That's nice to hear. The thing is, I'm really interested. The thing I'm really impressed about is just how welcoming the programming game dev community is. I guess it depends where you look, but in general, yeah, that's true. Obviously, I've seen certain places on Reddit and stuff where people get toxic about oh, you're doing this the wrong way. And obviously, as a programmer, it's hard sometimes when you see someone doing something really poorly. You want to tell them you should do it this way, but you don't want to be that guy who just they spent ages working on something and it works, and you're just but you should do it this way. Yeah. But regardless, most of it is good, especially Twitter I find is the best because people are always just showing off stuff they're making, really cool things, and saying how good other people's things are, and then everyone's just sharing stuff if you follow the right pages. And there's some game dev retweet bots as well that retweet game dev stuff, and that's how I see a lot of the content I see. One thing I wanted to ask you guys, are you actually working on a game at the moment? No, because as much as I want to do that, it's probably even riskier than what we're doing with our website at the moment in terms of like what. So it's considered risky, right, with any startup. But I think a game is even harder to make work because the thing is, we already have a community of people who want to learn, and we're getting people every day, new people who want to learn coding and stuff. The thing with a game is it's such a risk because it could go really, really well, really quickly. People might love it, but also it might just flop and be a waste of time. And yeah, we don't want to risk that yet, but that is something in the future. I mean, I've made games before, and I've published games on like for Ludum Dare. We actually entered the Global Game Jam. Was it a few months ago now? In January? Yeah, January. So I've entered some game jams and made some small games for that and whatever. But one thing I haven't done that I do want to do when I have the time is publish to Steam. Like actually have a proper game out there, have its own thing. To make like a proper game, I haven't had too much time for that kind of thing because obviously as soon as I finished school, it was like, all right, working on all this stuff now. And ever since January, everything's been crazy because in January, me and Mick did stuff with the business, and then just before I went to the Netherlands to do this, I actually got contacted by someone from Unity, and then I went to this event. We both went and met some content creators that if you guys, do Unity, you'll know who these content creators are, I'm sure. You can ask...
Or if you go to the playlist, the previous live stream with Roman, he was also there.
Yeah, so... what is it? Yeah, so I've done 2 live streams. 2 live streams ago, it was with Charles from Infallible Code. He actually is quite good friends with Jason, as far as I'm aware. And then with Roman Papush, I don't know how you pronounce the name exactly, last week. And there's other content creators that we're in touch with, and we'll possibly be getting on the live stream in the coming weeks. But yeah, it was pretty cool, like meeting everyone at this event. If you guys that are into Unity here want to know, then you can ask, but I'm not just going to like sit here and go through all the people for no reason if no one cares. But it was nice meeting these people, and like, because they're not all just programmers, right? Certain people don't do programming at all, and it's like art is their thing, or well, there was no like audio specific people there, but yeah, it was pretty much a mix of programmers and like game designers and some artists and modelers and stuff. And also, it was really great to meet Unity employees and discuss Unity, obviously. And yeah, it was just a really good event. It was like a small event. It wasn't a public one. I mean, the next public one would be Unite, but chances of that happening in this year is quite unlikely, as it's a big public gathering. And that's...
Maybe online, but...
Yeah, maybe an online one, but I don't know. We'll see.
Just can you please tell us what this Udemy course is about?
Oh, okay, so for my first Udemy course, I'm keeping it... I'm not going to say short, but like... I'm keeping it quite simple. I could do some more advanced topics, and that's what I will be doing if I do future courses. It just depends on how this one goes, if it's worth the time. But
can you give us a quick preview? Or?
I can... Yeah. Obviously, there's still some things I need to finish off with it. Of course. In terms of like UI and whatever. But the actual gameplay's there. It's going to be teaching how to make a tower defense game. When it's not just going to be like quick and get it over and done with, because it'll be more coding focused, and it's not just about writing quick and like bad code that works, and then when you want to do something new, you have to then go code 10 million new things. I'm trying to make it as reusable as possible. There's not that much code for the entire thing, and I've made it so it's a tower defense where you've got multiple spawn areas, and like they can meet up at these like connector locations, and then to get to the end, rather than just having one end, you might have 2 ends, and they both like take damage to the health. So if I press play, as I said, there's still more UI to do, but I think Unity is just lagging. Is it working? Oh, it's working now. Okay. Yeah, so I've got 100 money. This costs 50. So if I go drag this out, you see the range indicator, and I can release the turret, and it places it there. I can do it over here. Then the enemies come, and it starts shooting the enemies. They die. I get money. Once they're dead, wave 2 starts. They all spawn from here. But now I'm going to have some spawn from over here, and I can do both. I can tweak the speed, the size, everything. That's all up to you. I'm going to make some modifications, obviously, before I end up doing the recording for this. But the point is that the game works. So obviously I'm out of money now. I can't do another one. And there's only 2 waves for now. When the waves end, it needs to say game over and stuff. I've made a little notepad thing of like what's next. But yeah, it's gonna be about building this from scratch, because the problem is with, as I mentioned earlier on in the stream, what am I saying? Playlists, series don't really work on YouTube very well. The thing with a Udemy course is when you buy it, you know it's done, like it's complete. You know, yeah, they can add to it afterwards, but you know what you're getting yourself into. You don't have to wait for them to release new episodes, and you're not like risking whether they even will release new episodes. The whole point is it's ready when they get it. So yeah, it's going to be building this game from scratch. At the end, obviously, there'll be the whole building the game and actually exporting it as an like executable and playing it properly. The whole menu UI stuff. So yeah, there's a bit more to go. Obviously, over here I'll make some more turrets. When you mouse over the turrets, it will give their info. At the top, I'll display the wave that's incoming, so what enemies there are. You mouse over the enemies, you see their stats. So just a little bit more UI to do, but the actual gameplay is pretty much like there. It's just for you to make your own maps, make your own enemies, make your own turrets that do fancy things. At the moment, there's just one that shoots projectiles, and you also need to make a laser one, and one that shoots maybe like boomerang projectiles, so that it goes through, comes back, does damage. I'll add little health bars above the enemies. So most of the work is just UI. So my goal is basically, by the time I sleep tonight, the project will be done, and then I have 2 days to record and upload it all to Udemy. Because hopefully, if I finish it all tonight, then there is no more like stuff to add. I'm gonna be happy with it tonight. If it gets to midnight and it's still not done, then I'm gonna stay up until it's done, basically tonight. So then when I wake up tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday is completely on making the course, writing it up, getting it all onto Udemy. As I said, I've never actually done stuff on Udemy, so it's new to me. I still.
Okay, and when can we expect this to be on Udemy again?
Yeah, so the plan is Monday, if it goes as planned. Guaranteed early next week to mid next week. Like, I'm going to say Wednesday latest, but it should be Monday. So that's just so I can cover my back in case someone is there on Monday. Like, why is it not done?
Yeah.
But if you follow on Twitter and in the Discord server and stuff, you'll be aware of it being released, because I'll post about it, obviously. I'm not just going to stay silent.
Cool. Looking forward.
Mickey, you going to go buy the course?
Yes, of course.
But you're spending money on the course, and we get 97% back. So
yeah,
I guess Mick's just gonna go and buy the course tons of times and leave loads of really good reviews. That's what he's gonna go do.
No, the reviews are up to our community, but I'm really looking forward to this game, and as I told you off stream as well, I've been playing tower defense like on and off sometimes. So yeah, it's just really cool to get a look behind the scenes, really.
Yeah, because the thing about Mick is he doesn't really do game development, so
No.
but knows
I'm
a bit.
developer.
I've taught you a bit about Unity, and you've obviously watched my stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching for a year.
yeah,
now,
and
possibly over a year.
the reason I chose like a tower defense, so I know people want multiplayer content, so that'll be coming. I'm gonna stay quiet on that for now, though, because
Yeah.
for various reasons.
We got our plans.
We got plans. Let's just put it that way. But for now, yeah, on my own, I'm keeping it as a single player. I might still do some multiplayer stuff depending on the demand. And tower defense is relatively simple. If I pick something more complex, I'm worried I'd never finish it, or people wouldn't be satisfied that I didn't cover enough. At least with tower defense, it's like quite low. It's a small scope in terms of how games are.
And before you actually get into the developing the game, it's also a really straightforward game to explain. Like, these are the things that it has to do. These are the requirements.
Yeah, when it comes to the actual towers you have and what they do, that's completely up to your imagination.
Of course.
In terms of the mechanics, it's quite simple, really. It's like you've got these places you can put turrets, and if there's no turret there, you can put a turret there. You need money. You get money from killing things. Turrets kill things. You got waves, and then waves get to the end. You take damage. You die. You win. You unlock the next level. So that's one use of player prefs. Obviously, it's not the safest way, but I don't care. The thing with single-player games is you can never really stop people cheating, because all this stuff is on their PC if it's single-player. So I'm not gonna like worry about.
And it doesn't even matter, really.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? Cheat that you
Unlock the next level.
yeah, like, good job.
You're so bad you can't do level 1. Why not try level 2? Like,
yeah, exactly.
On Udemy, there's a complete course that covers a tower defense game. You thinking Plants vs Zombies by Game Dev TV? I mean, I understand the argument about, oh, there's something that this thing already exists by this person, but then that's just like saying there should never be anyone else doing anything, because
yeah, exactly.
it's like on YouTube, someone's already covered inheritance, so I should never cover inheritance, because that guy's already done it and he has more subs, so don't do inheritance. Then I wouldn't be able to make any content unless it was like some really unique idea no one's ever done that no one will be searching either because no one knows what it is.
Like the Bouncy Boys.
Well, that video did well. That's because I was kind of I didn't have much time, and I was like, oh, let's quickly just record some video, and then people like that video because it was kind of trolley fun, but they're hard to come up with. I'm not an entertainer. I'm an educator. They're two different things. People are good at both. I wouldn't say I'm that good at both. Trying to fit education and comedy together is really good. It's just very difficult. I mean, some people pull it off, but and those are the people who are huge because they're really funny people. But there's also people who watch those who still say, obviously, there's a space for people who just teach normally, because at the end of the day, on an education comedy video, you can only learn so much.
Can you read the shark jets?
Google was not the first search engine. Don't let someone who do this. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, if you copy them exactly, like to the every feature they have, then if you just they're just going to be the better version of you, obviously. So, like we were saying earlier with our things like Stack Overflow, because people post questions and answer them. It's like, yeah, but that's such a vague thing anyway. Like so many, it's like YouTube comments. I know that's more for feedback, but people ask questions in YouTube comments like, oh, let's just remove YouTube comments. People should ask them on Stack Overflow instead. I understand not every YouTube channel and comment section is about coding, but that was probably a bad comparison, to be honest. I'll admit.
Yeah, it was. But...
You get the point, though. Like SharkJet said, though, just because someone's already done it doesn't mean you shouldn't try, because as you're doing it, you might then come up with the ideas of how to make it unique. It's great if you can go into it knowing how to make it unique. The thing about it is, right, so you said, complete C# thingy by... so Ben Tristram is Game Dev TV. And that is the 3D course, yeah. But was it Tower Defense? Maybe it's an updated one, because funnily enough, I actually followed that course, and when I did it, there was no Tower Defense. Maybe it's new, unless it's the Plant vs. Zombies thing, but you said it isn't, so... the thing about tutorials, and why I think this is even more of a reason to do something someone's already done in tutorials, is you might see someone else's tutorial on a topic and think, I could do it better. Maybe, yeah, they covered it better for beginners, but they didn't cover these more advanced things, so... The thing with a tower defense game is just because someone has done a tower defense game that works doesn't mean they've designed it necessarily well. I'm not saying they've done it well or poorly, but the point is, one of the reasons people like my channel is because they say it's usually more intermediate stuff and covering better design architecture things. So I imagine the Ben Tristram course is a beginner focus, right? So when you're beginner focused, you sometimes don't do everything best practice, because you don't want to overwhelm new people with all these best practices when they don't know anything. It's always good to get into that stuff as soon as possible, but it's not the easiest thing to do. So I'm not aiming my course at absolute beginners who have never programmed before. It's at people who know a bit of C# and maybe have touched Unity before. I'm not going to explain what every single window in the editor is and what it all does, and this is how you create a script, and this is what the start function does. But I will explain as I go along. We're putting this in start because obviously start gets called at start, and then it does this, and then I'll be explaining everything logically, but not to the point where it's we're going to make a variable of type integer. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Because people have said to me as well, make Udemy courses, but don't make beginner ones because there's already too many of them. So that's the main thing. Most Udemy courses are beginner, and yeah, there's a bigger beginner audience, but also there's already big people on Udemy who have the beginner audience that don't...
It's also the most competition.
Yeah, if you go for intermediate, even though there's less people, there's higher percentage people, if you get what I mean. Out of the million beginners, maybe there's only 10 left, But out of the thousands of intermediates, there's still thousands left. Those numbers were pulled out of nowhere, but... Yeah. We're getting close to 3 hours. Maybe we should try and end up in the next 15 minutes, because I obviously need to go finish my course, and I thought we were only going to do it for an hour to two, and we're at 2:45. So we can start closing it up now. Any questions people have right now before we end? Obviously, I'll be streaming again next week is the plan. Though next week
the questions can be about like the courses, the future of the platform,
literally anything. Like
yeah, whatever.
But yeah, next week I'll be trying to get in contact with either. Well, the plans were Games plus James, but he's not able to stream, at least not at the moment, because he's got internet problems. So that's unlikely to happen next week, but we'll be having James at some point because he's already basically agreed to. He's interested in doing a Q&A live stream, and any of you might know Couch Ferret makes games. He's busy at the moment, but maybe next
we're trying to contact as many content creators as possible to just talk a bit, just like we did right now, and
obviously
like we keep doing.
We're first of all reaching out to people who we already are kind of we've met and spoke with, because it's easier to reach out, and they already know us, and we all know each other like decently now from the event, so it's really easy for me to reach out and just be like, hey, you want to do a live stream together? And if they're interested, obviously it's up to them, then we can just jump on a live stream and do a Q&A with our communities. And the two I've done previously worked well, and today's is going well, and Mick, no one knows him, so
no one knows.
Sorry. in the server, people do. Server.
Yeah, I'm the community man.
No one is saying it. Yeah, his course is totally beginner, by the way. I love the channel as more intermediate stuff. That's something I find missing a lot. Yeah, that's the thing. I always am tempted, like, maybe I should just do only beginner stuff, because that's where everyone is, but there's so many channels already for that, it's hard to compete. I still do beginner stuff, but not like my only thing. And at the moment, I'm doing a lot of like C#, not basics, but like, you might know what events are in C#, but you might not know what they are in Unity. I'm doing like coding fundamentals, but for Unity. And some of them I'm titling as beginner because they're quite simple things. That doesn't mean like you shouldn't watch it if you're not a beginner. But I have got also some more intermediate. It's quite hard when I do a topic to judge what difficulty it is. Like events. What do you say, events are beginner or intermediate? I'd probably say intermediate, because as a beginner, they don't tell you about events. They tell you about variables and classes and like functions, right? Intermediate, I don't know what you call advanced. Is interfaces intermediate or advanced? I don't know. It's hard to judge that kind of thing. But if people disagree with my judgments, then they'll tell me in the comments, and I've not had anyone tell me I'm wrong, so I think I'm fine. People do agree, and people like the videos. They say it helps, and especially because it's not a series, even though it's called Unity C# Bite Size, you don't have to watch them in order. They're all completely individual. So people can be like, I need to brush up on raycasting. Here's like a quick overview of raycasting. So yeah, just these really common things you use in Unity are what I'm doing videos on. And as I said, I've got other videos ideas for when I start running low on these. Like, people used to enjoy the making abilities and characters from games like that they like. Now the thing is, Andre from Mix and Jam, he actually does the same kind of thing a lot. He makes, that's his only content, is he makes mechanics from games, but he focuses more on the like, obviously he makes the mechanic and makes it look really good. I'm not good at making stuff look good. So if I was to do that kind of thing, it would be more of a making the mechanics work really well and easy to implement in a game, as opposed to making it look good. So when I made like Tracer, it was just a capsule running around, but I could blink, which is Tracer's dash, if you don't know, right click or her left shift. And then she has recall, which takes her back to where she was 4 seconds ago. But it's not just a teleport, it's actually a rewind. So what I did was like every like half a second, or maybe even more precisely than that, every quarter of a second, I'd store the player's position and rotation. Then when I pressed the recall button, it actually like rewound like the character back through those positions and rotations. It was actually really cool. I liked it. So like it records the last 4 seconds or something. So any thing in that list that's more than 4 seconds old gets removed. For the next course, multiplayer, the turn-based game. I mean, yeah, it's something I could think about. Because with multiplayer, multiplayer gets like exponentially more difficult. If you
for like new Udemy courses, we kind of got some plans.
We can probably mention it briefly, right?
I don't know. I think we should wait.
You think it's best to wait?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll wait. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the tease. Yeah. If anyone else has any questions before we end, now's the time. We've got 8 minutes left before we're probably going to end the stream. Well, before we will end the stream.
Uh-huh.
So
just a general question, like,
to me, or
yeah. So what what do we what are we trying to do in the next year, I'd say?
yeah. Should we go a bit smaller than that, like a bit sooner than a year?
Sure.
I feel like our current plans that are on our mind that we're like focusing on right now. So obviously we're doing some other things to make money, but in terms of the website and what you guys will actually notice yourself, so the channel content is going to vary just as it does. As I've mentioned, I've got ideas right now. If those ideas start to run low, I've still got other ideas. Like, as I said, making characters again. I can do anything that avoids doing a series, I'll do, you know? Basically on Udemy. And then if I have series ideas, I'll put them on Udemy, which makes more sense. And obviously they're more dedicated. I have to put a lot more time and effort in, which is why they'll be paid.
It's just, it's completely different from our YouTube content.
And the thing is, obviously on Udemy, there's always sales on. So pretty much every course you get on Udemy is like, in pounds, I think is it like £10, £11? I'm not sure. Completely depends on your currency, obviously. And but for those of you who want like a full series, then that makes the most sense. But obviously for like the individual content and the like bite-sized videos and everything else, that'll all be on the channel for free always.
And I just heard you talking about the editor stuff. That's maybe something that we could consider creating a learning path for.
The editor stuff. Like you mean like using
in Unity,
the editor?
yeah, the editor.
Like explaining the different
like explaining
windows.
the different windows and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that could be something. And also, like, one thing I should look into is covering beta stuff as well. Like the new UI elements. There's not much about it, and it's apparently out. I'm gonna go try learn it at some point once I release this course, and I can go and look into it. Another question: can you shout out some of the channels you mentioned earlier? Oh, so you mean like the people I met? I think is what he means, right? Shout out the
no, the other people that we did a stream with.
The people I did stream with. Well, that was Charles from Infallible Code. So if you search, it's double L. So
wait, I will link the.
You can just link it, yeah. Oh yeah, we got a playlist for it. Yeah, that forgot I made that. So yeah, we streamed with Charles, mainly talking about programming and game dev and like best practices. Then I streamed last week with Roman. That was less of a coding, more of a game design kind of talk. Just about like projects we're working on and our mentality about making games and how we plan stuff. That's the thing, based on like who we're talking with, it kind of varies like what we talk about, obviously. Problem with making beta stuff, it's not for everyone. You'll be fielding questions about this topics for years to come. Like the input system. The thing, I mean, okay, I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, you should just use the new input system because it's better, but I know some people use this asset called Rewired that I've not got that's apparently really good. So apart from Rewired, the new input system, as opposed to the built-in one where it's just like reading a string, like, well, not reading a string, like using a string to get this thing from, like, it's just, I've never had a good experience with the old input system. Charles, you get questions about how the dots video is inaccurate display. Oh, you mean about like the fact it changes? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I agree. I think in terms of beta things, it's always nice to do one video on something while it's in beta, talking about. It depends what state you want to do it in as well. Because the thing is, like with ECS, it's good for people to get into the mindset of it and at least understand how it works, so that when it comes out, they already have a good understanding. That's still beneficial, even if the tutorial's not 100% accurate at the time. Also, people can obviously go into older Unity versions and packages and get it the exact way I did it, but people don't usually want to do that. I use Rewired in commercial projects. I mean, I might look into it if it's actually that good that like people use it, but I've got good experience with the new Unity input system. But if I have any problems with it or find, obviously I'll consider Rewired. I don't know how much it is. I think it's pretty pricey, right? Like for an asset, is it? I don't know. It's like 50, 60 quid. Maybe I'm imagining that. I just remember checking sometime. Mick's looking it up by the sounds of his keyboard. Like Rewired Unity or something.
40 euros.
Okay, it's not too bad considering how good I've heard it is. So yeah. What was someone saying? Yeah, so yeah, the thing about making stuff on beta. So like the new Unity UI elements, the only thing people have really seen of it right now is on the like Unite talk about it, or wherever it was shown. So I think at least making a tutorial about like this is what it's going to look like working with it. Because the problem is, I watched the Unity video the other day again. They show you it as like some UI that's already been made. They don't show you the making process. So like people in the comments are like, oh, this looks cool, but I have no idea how to get started. Why can't you just show us like a blank project to making a bit of UI, you know, with the new system? So I think there's definitely an audience of people that want to know about it and see, oh, what is this? Because if this is the way it's going, then I want to know about it, and it seems really cool and useful. But also I do agree that in a couple of months' time, someone might be like, this doesn't work, it's broken because they've changed it. So yeah, making like out of date stuff, that's why you've just got to revisit old topics if they update enough. Like I've got a video on interfaces from like the other day, but I've also got a video on interfaces from like a year ago. Interfaces haven't changed. I mean, technically, yeah, in the new C# version they have, but that's not in Unity. So the point is, like, I learn stuff over time. There's some best practices or whatever, like paradigms I used to think that were good that now I don't. It's not a good idea to go back and delete old videos because they're still beneficial and people still like watching them and learn. Sometimes though, on old videos, if I've made an up-to-date version, I'll change the video name and put a link in the description to the new version so people can go watch that one. Yeah, it just really depends. It's hard to... You can't keep every video on your channel up to date, especially when you have hundreds of videos. Because I've had videos out for like 2 years now, just over 2 years. And I do like now like 4 to 5 videos a week. So I've got like 300 videos on the channel, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. Yeah, you can't like make everything work up to date. Because if I did a video about prefabs a year ago or whenever it was before the prefab update, that would be out of date. But at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do because prefabs are really useful. But now they're like a lot more useful because of nested prefabs. All right, last question because it's 3 o'clock now. Wait, the main benefit is they support things like input. I've already done mappings for the most common 200 or so devices. Yeah, I'm sure like the Unity input system doesn't have a mapping for everything, but I've looked at their list of mappings like and devices, and there seems to be a lot. Yeah, there probably still isn't like everything, and I think the way they're going with the new input system, it's just so much better than the old one that I believe it'll be like. I think it's good. Rewired could still be better. I've not tried it, so I don't want to keep talking about it as if I know it when I don't. So I'm just going to avoid talking about it. Perhaps some good tutorials on making games for mobile. So that's the thing. As far as I'm aware, from what I've messed around with, like I've put some games onto mobile, like never published, but I've made mobile. I've built a game onto my mobile phone on Android. I can't speak for iOS how that works because I don't use Apple. But for
very good reasons.
For Android, I've never had problems with it. You don't really have to do anything differently. You have to download like the package for your Unity version so you can build to Android or iOS. Apart from that, just make sure the resolution's right, and obviously you got to take into consideration performance differences on mobile. Like the rendering pipelines and stuff. But the code you write's going to be the same. Like you don't have to write different code, unless you're doing like mobile push notifications, in which case then there might be something different. But
probably some assets for it.
Yeah, I think there's built-in assets for that stuff.
Yeah.
And finally, it's Jack, my friend Jack. Hashtag love you Dapper. Hashtag United for Unity. It's time. Okay, it's time for Dapper Dino. Yeah. Oh, if people go and find my old YouTube channel and see my my old intro, yeah, my friend made it, so it's not me doing it. I don't have to like. Whenever I hear it, at least I'm not thinking, oh, it's my voice doing a really bad intro. Maybe we should try ending the stream on the 3 hour mark, which is 29 seconds away. No, actually, how are we gonna more people talking?
No, I don't know.
Well, we'll go over by a minute. It's fine. It's nice and the same. Someone been doing develop AR and VR and mobile no longer. Yeah, the main difference is just optimization for what you're doing it for. Really, if you write logic to attack an enemy on mobile, it's the same as attacking an enemy on PC. There's no difference there. It's Unity at the end of the day. One of the main points of Unity is that it works on like everything. That's what it's like known for, is that it's really good at just working on everything. I don't use Unreal Engine much, but apparently it's not great for mobile, for example. It's not great for some other things, but Unity's just good on everything. But anyway, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I guess it's time to say goodbye now. see you
Yeah.
guys in Monday's video, I guess, but we'll be chatting next week's stream, which should be Thursday. The main reason why it was Friday this week is we were trying to get people, we were hurrying last minute, like trying to find someone new, and we couldn't find someone. So rather than doing the stream with no notifications yesterday, we gave it like a day of, telling people about it and stuff. But yeah, thanks everyone who tuned in. We've talked about a lot of different things. But
Definitely.
it was still a good experience. I enjoyed it. It was a good 3 hours. I need a drink. My throat is dry.
Yeah. I hope to see you in the Discord server, or in the platform, or in the tickets, or wherever.
Yeah, our social media links and stuff are in all the video descriptions. I should probably put it in the stream, but I kind of forgot. So just go check any video on the channel that's from like the last few months. Mick's just gonna go start sending all the links now anyway. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and goodbye. Is Mick not gonna say goodbye?
See you guys.